Hey everybody, Jack of All Podcast, pod number 5. This time I've got my buddy Rocco over again to tell me more about his time with the 82nd Airborne. This time around it's his second deployment. A few random things we forgot in the first one. But if you haven't checked out the first one, check that one out. Get a little more backstory and everything. This guy's great. I hope you guys enjoy. Before we get into that, I wanted to talk about a few things real quick. Just kind of some stuff that's driving me nuts. I recently got together with a buddy who he got stabbed a good few years back, and I mean as close to getting murdered as you can get. He barely made it, and thank God he did in the long run, or thank whoever that he did in the long run. And this just relates so much, though. His story relates so much to me of all the other shit you see going on these days, all these human shit shows that you see, people driving cars into each other, blowing each other up, bullshit shootings for no reason. And I think it kind of ties back to a lot of the same reasoning for what happened to him. And just no reason, really. He's in a club. This is, hanging out with some friends, whatever. And one of his buddies gets into an altercation, starts getting into a physical fight with somebody. He jumps in, breaking it up or whatever. And another guy jumps in and just starts stabbing him, stab, and just runs. And they don't even catch the guy. He, oddly enough, my friend ends up figuring out who it is years later, so that's crazy. But they don't catch him, and this guy, he comes so close to death. The injuries he sustained, it amazes me that he didn't die. I mean, I hunt deer, and so I've seen a large mammal die, and what's horrifying to me is, you see the last shudders of life leaving, and you have such reverence for it. You're so, there's a purpose to this. You're getting food. I mean, we all eat food, and you're not planting a bean without squishing a bug anymore, So you have to have reverence for when you have to kill, and it's an experience. And what horrifies me, though, is I can't help it. I end up watching videos on Live Leak and stuff like that, and people die the same. It's the same as a deer. It's horrifying, and we're all just mammals, and we go the same. And anyways, though, I don't know that these other people have experienced this, and so like my buddy has, and fuck, he was on the end of it where he's dying, and somehow he makes it through, and the repercussions are just, that's what I think people are missing. They don't see the repercussions. I'm hearing this story, and it's horrifying, and his dad's there with me, and I can just see like his dad chimes in with the exact time. Like, it was, I don't remember, but 4:13 in the morning, and I got the phone call and didn't know if his son was gonna even be alive by the time he got to the hospital. I mean, he's in surgery, bleeding out of arteries, and this is years ago, and I can see that he's still shaken from it, at least in some great way. Whether it's, I mean, it is not even just superficial. It's there. He is shaken from this still, and I understand that. I've got, some of us have experiences in our life that we understand the horror of not knowing if your entire world just became something different. I mean, these things change worlds. Running somebody over with a car changes worlds. It's not just some bullshit protest thing. It's, this guy with his car, I'm sure he's learning now that his whole world is not what it was the day before. And I get the feeling that, like, this stabber guy, or these idiots hitting people with cars or murdering people senselessly, I don't think they understand loss, or they haven't experienced it. It's you hear snowflake thrown around all the time these days for all kinds of different meanings, and I think it's kind of that. I think some of these people don't understand the pain and the horror that they're about to experience, and like my friend does. Like, him and his parents, they've been through that. They understand what it's like to have somebody call you, or show, a police officer show up at your work to tell you that your world is not what it was a second ago. And it's those moments right after that are just, time collapses, everything stops. It's unbelievable, and my friend understands that, and you can see it. You can see that maybe it's just my buddy, but I think these people who've gone through these experiences, like Rocco, I think he understands it too. He's gone through some fucked up shit, and they move slower. These people, they move more cautiously. They They seem to think things through more. They seem to understand that this is a delicate existence. This is a delicate state. So, anyways, it just kind of drives me nuts. I hope people can just knock it the fuck off and stop hurting each other. We don't need that crap. Life's hard enough as it is. Anyways, let's see. Oh man, enough of this dreary crap. I got to tell you guys. So, if you listen to the audio version of the podcast, it's not been on the YouTube because advertisement crap and all that stuff. So, but Nip Slips, my advertiser, oh yeah, bullshit. Turns out I end up start getting emails. People aren't able to get in touch with these guys. They're just ghosts, right? So apparently they're only communicating with me. Turns out it's just a big nipple joke of sorts. I didn't realize it, but apparently it's the Super Bowl and we're having, wardrobe malfunctions again. So yeah, they don't exist. So don't go to the website and try to use my code because it ain't working, obviously. Apparently I'm a dummy and just, they got me with some nipple pun jokes. So I'm looking for some new advertisers. I've got one on deck that it's Big Bone Dog Bone Company. They're like, it looks like oh my, it's a fucking dildo. I cannot win with these sponsors, man. I'm gonna have to figure this out. So you can get in touch with me at jackofallpodcast.com. You can find anything that I'm publishing there. I'm on YouTube as well, all over social media, everywhere. A special thank you to Colton and Casey for the music that I have backing the podcast today. These guys came over to my place to record this way back in 2012, and I'm really happy to be using it today. Thank you guys. I hope to see you around. All right. Enjoy the podcast, everybody. Thank you so much, and I love you.
Go give 'em hell. I'll always love you. I'm under your spell. You're coming through clear as a bell. Coming through clear as a bell.
So I told you how dangerous the ASP was.
ASP?
And the ammo supply point.
Oh, yeah.
Where we caught all the guys digging and everything.
Yep.
There was one guy that tried to go through there. I still don't know why he did that, but he was going through in a taxi. Now, like I told you before, taxis, they paint orange on the side to designate their taxis. Why this guy was trying to go through this basically, crater-littered, foxhole-littered, concrete chunk piece of shit, but he tried doing it and he ran over a tank mine. We just happened to be out on patrol at the time, and I'll get you the pictures of that because there's really nothing left of the guy's body.
That's the one that blew straight through, right?
Literally, yeah, like he had an ejector seat, in like a cartoon where they shoot out of the jet. It blew a hole from the bottom of his vehicle up through the roof, and literally the whole inside of the car was just like red paste. Like there was like no discernible body parts. So,
that's pretty gross. Because those are meant to punch through the bottom of a tank, right?
Yeah,
that's
right.
idea.
I mean, they're very, very strong
Tons
mines.
of pressure straight up.
Yeah, so I do have pictures of that. It was one of the gruesome things that I brought home that I didn't really care if anybody saw.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to tell even what you're looking at. It just looks, kind of bloody. Yeah, so there was that. And as far as the IEDs on MSR Tampa, one of the weirdest things we saw, other than like escorting people or seeing vehicles in front of us from a different, element or whatever. Like I've watched RPGs get shot at dudes that are escorting semis and shit. That's fairly common. Like I said, the first people to go through, or if it's nighttime and they look like a soft target, they'd get hit by all kinds of things, small arms, IEDs. But we were going a little farther down MSR Tampa than we usually do, and we saw like a shit ton of smoke. I'm like, man, what is that? And we get down there, and it was just like a transport semi. I don't know if they were bringing like water to us or like what, but they had got hit by an IED. And by the time we got there, man, it was nothing but a burned shell. I just thought it was wild, to see it's like a skeletal frame of a semi. It's just gone.
All burnt out. Let me throw these dogs outside, man.
Oh, go ahead, man.
They decided to come to the party. Hold on one sec.
They're good boys.
Let's go. You guys just gonna go outside.
They're beautiful though, man.
Yeah, they're good.
Another problem.
That was just
It's just a random semi. It just burned. There was like nothing left. I don't even know if there was.
Who would that have been, like, going to, or why would they have even chosen to blow that up?
Well, the only thing I can figure is if they were supplying us, oh, that just took away, water, food.
Right.
Who the hell knows? Maybe he could have been bringing beds. I mean, hell, he could have just been a civilian local guy.
Yeah.
With a trucking company, moving water or whatever. Like, who the hell knows?
Yeah, and
I couldn't even tell.
Plate or some shit even.
Right.
Yeah.
It looked like he just got hit by just a roadside IED. I couldn't tell you what kind or anything because we just kind of stopped for a moment, looked at it.
Yeah,
I mean, I couldn't even tell you if there was a body in there because it had burned to nothing. It was just the frame.
Yeah.
We couldn't tell what products he had in there or anything, and we ended up calling out our gravedigger element. They're like the wreckers and all that.
Yeah,
and
okay.
I think they just moved him off the side of the road, but they have to move him a certain distance because if you leave like trash on the side of the road right there, they're just going to use it as a place to hide IEDs and stuff. So, yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Another big thing, and I didn't really touch on this much that would be a problem for me. So you saw some of those videos where I was up in the turret in the lead.
Yeah.
Another really big problem was power lines.
Okay.
So how they would rig their stuff up, you would see, I kid you not, this giant rat's nest of 500 power lines hooked up to like a transformer.
Right.
It was wild. So we'd go through these little towns like Ojah and Wynot. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce them. But we also cordoned those cities off too and cleared them, just like we did with Adwar in Operation Hershey. But sometimes the wires would be like really low across the street, so we'd have to watch for that. And several times I've had them hit me like right in the neck.
Holy crap.
Or get wrapped around the turret and sparks just go flying everywhere. And for the rest of the mission, because the way our turrets are, they're made to turn.
Yeah.
So these wires are caught underneath there. And we're just, we're just like a bride just dragging these wires behind us like a wedding dress.
And you'd hit live ones and everything?
Oh, absolutely, all the time.
Yeah.
And they just told us to watch out for that because I guess there had been reports that they were putting like guitar wire, piano wire, stuff like that.
Right, trying to get you to
I never saw any of that.
Head off with it.
But definitely ran into a lot of wires. That was really bad. So we started putting like a stick, like a bendable, almost like a big antenna on the vehicle, so it would hit that and then like scoot over the top of our turret. Yeah. But that one instance I wanted to tell you about too, they parked me up underneath one of those transformers, and there's a big wire like the size of my forearm, and the high wind, middle of a storm, and we're doing a raid. My guys were outer cordon, so we sit in the street and we watch, different areas of fire and everything to make sure there's first thing, no squirters, that's people running out.
Yeah.
And make sure there's nobody coming in, and also, to make sure nobody's going to try to attack us. And they park me right underneath this transformer.
And there's a storm going on?
Dude, like legit storm. And we're right underneath of it. Like if I look straight up, it's above my head. There's like a palm tree next to it blowing all crazy, and it's sparking, like shooting sparks out. Like if you've seen transformers blow before.
Yeah.
It's like sparking. And I tell my chief, I'm like, Chief, we got it. Can we move like 15 feet? I'm right under this transformer. And he tells me, he's like, shut the fuck up, Ames. Stop being a bitch. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, right. Come on now.
So I'm just sitting up here. I'm paying like no attention to the mission at this point because I'm just watching this thing. And the wind's just picking up, getting worse and worse. And I see it snap off. Like shoot.
A wire?
White sparks. Yeah, just snap. And I swear it like went slow motion. It's coming right down at my head. And I just fell right out of the sling seat, just whoop, and closed the hatch as I did it. And when that thing hit, you seen RoboCop 2?
No.
Well, some of your viewers will have.
Yeah.
He's fighting Kane, the big robot,
okay.
And he's got this like electrical burner thing attachment on his arm, and he like burns the helmet, like gouges into the metal with electricity. That's what that thing was doing, jumping all over our Humvee, and it was burning into the armor.
Did it like actually put tracks and stuff through it? And
probably like
lines?
half-inch to an inch deep tracks in it because the armor on the outside is aluminum.
Yeah.
So it was gouging it, about this deep.
Yeah.
And that's one of the times I almost died just out of sheer stupidity of somebody else because they didn't want to move my truck like 15 feet. They parked me under something that was obviously dangerous, and who knows how much power was going through that. I mean, that was a fat cable, dude. That thing was huge.
Right.
Yeah, and it like landed on top of my turret, like in between my Pope glass at first, and then it was just whipping around, just gouging the metal and sparking and shit. And then they decided, oh shit, we might as well move.
And I was looking at that turret earlier. That's pretty crazy. It was a lot. The pictures you were showing me were a lot more open than I was expecting. So, can you just describe it a little bit?
Right.
Like
the glass on my right, left, and the rear of me, we call it Pope glass because you know the Pope travels in his little Pope mobile. It's actually windshields out of a Humvee, the up armored Humvee, and then you have like your gun shield that's in front of your 240, 249, 50 cal, whatever. That's only like maybe 3/4 of an inch of aluminum. That's it.
Really?
So when I said like the dudes were using armor piercing bullets, they were able to shoot through the metal part, not only where the windshields were, because the windshields are just mounted onto that same thickness of metal, you know, 3/4 of an inch, whatever it was. Then the glass is just welded on. But in front of me, I didn't have the glass. I just had that metal. Look, I never got shot at by a sniper like that that went through, but it did happen to a couple of my buddies.
Though.
No, hell no, it's not.
Yeah.
And they'd give us like up armor kits. They'd tell us, well, they're starting to put the IEDs under the vehicle, so they were actually welding iron plates under our trucks and stuff like that. Our bumpers, like you saw the video of us crashing the Humvees through the gates and shit, those were aluminum bumpers.
That's
like,
so crazy.
Our bumper was like in the shape of a weird S by the end of the deployment from crashing into so much shit. I think the company's name was Ibistec. I think they were a Turkish company. And they make really good like LED lights and stuff. We had LED lights on our bumper, and everybody had them on their truck and stuff like that. We got a little better with that stuff by second deployment, but we kept bothering our HHB and golf company mechanics. Hey, can you guys weld us like a big iron pipe bumper? And it's like, unless you were super tight with them, you can never get them to do it.
Right.
And like I'm like, dude, we're smashing gates all the time with my truck being the lead truck. Like I could really use it.
No kidding.
I never got one. So
those bumpers, did those just get thrown on sometime throughout the lifespan of the vehicle being over there, and just that's what was?
I believe that was part of the when they'd refit it, when they'd put new armor on there, they put the bumpers on there,
the
because
aluminum ones.
Yeah. Just the regular, there is really no bumper on there. I mean, it's like a tiny little bumper. It's not going to do shit. And there's a brush guard, you know, and that's not going to do shit. These bumpers actually came out, you know, about this far. They actually had little cubbies in them that you can open up. You could put a tow chain in it or whatever.
That's
like,
cool. And
we weren't able to put anything in ours because it was mangled. And like I said, I could probably show you pictures on some of these videos of of these discs, how mangled they were. So
that's soft, though.
yeah. What is it?
Oh, I'm just sitting here listening to this thing hum behind me.
Why?
Because it's a PlayStation with a shitty fan in it.
Ah.
Say that, but
Don't you talk that way about PlayStation, dude.
What's that?
Don't you talk that way about PlayStation.
Oh, I love it. I love it too. That's all I ever had and never
So I just got a couple more things about first deployment, and I'll end with your story that PETA's gonna hate. So.
Oh yeah. Well. Okay.
So there was one time we were riding through the Tikrit area, and my chief, you know, I don't like the guy, but he fell asleep. So he's the guy that sits next to the driver, and we're the lead truck, so he's in control of the convoy where we're going. We do have a platoon sergeant that dictates, but this guy is ultimately in charge of the routes. Well, he's playing his PSP, and he falls asleep. Now, he's a pretty fat dude. So what happened was he dropped his PSP. We were going around a corner onto Bridge Street off Route Barbie, I believe it was. I know we turned onto Bridge Street. Anyway, he yells, "Stop the vehicle." I dropped my PSP, and I'm up there like, Jesus Christ. Because he's got us stopped in the middle of an intersection. So I got cars coming, you know, from the left, from the right. I got to flag them all off. We're just sitting ducks in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Bridge Street is notorious for two things. IEDs, because there's a lot of wetlands and shit right there.
Okay.
And snipers, dude. Like crazy for snipers. In fact,
they're building lots of buildings?
No, not really. That particular little section is almost like Lower Huntington Road here, where it's just mostly country. You'll see sparse things. I mean, but way more primal, I guess is the word.
Yeah.
But and not long before that or after that, I can't remember, you know, the time frame of it, but they drove up a couple of car bombs on the Iraqi police station right there on Bridge Street, and you can find that on the internet. You don't even have to WikiLeak that. That was like national, international headlines, and blew that whole thing to pieces. Like when we got there, they weren't even trying to get our help to get the bodies out because it was just a rubble pile.
Oh, geez.
Killed like all the cops that were inside. So it's a pretty shitty area. Anyway, this guy, he's fat, drops his PSP, which obviously you got to stop the convoy because Chief's got to have his PSP. You know, and like I said, he was asleep, so he had no idea what was going on. And I look up, it's probably like 35, 40 meters in front of us. Where we would have been, because we were turning left, where we would have been, that whole section of the road on the right explodes.
Oh.
And it explodes in red fire onto like a little hatchback car. Red fire, okay? Like the color red.
Yeah, what does that mean?
It was phosphorus.
Okay.
A phosphorus round, red phosphorus. And this car just swerves all over the place and keeps going. Like, I don't know if he thought we did it or had something to do with it.
Right.
Or he just wanted to get the fuck out of there.
Probably, yeah.
But his car is literally on fire. It didn't destroy it, but it definitely spit some crazy phosphorus fire on his car. And as we're pulling up, I can see two guys running away that were hiding in the bushes right there.
Right.
They're probably about 100 meters back behind a hill, and they just take off running. And I'm like, I know they're the trigger men. Like, there's no question. They had probably set that thing. They went up there, set it on a timer, and then hid. And they probably were recording it because the one dude had something like a cell phone or something in his hand. They were gonna record it hitting our truck.
Yeah.
And I'm asking my chief. I'm like, Chief, I see the triggerman. You know, let me engage. Well, he had just woke up, had no idea what's going on. He's all fat, like turtled in the Humvee. He's scrambling around, you know, doing the T-Rex arm thing, trying to get this PSP. But if you've ever been inside of a Humvee with, you know, our armor on, you have no mobility at all. So he's like fat, and he's like, you just can't do it, dude. And no, he wouldn't let me shoot him. I do have a little helmet cam of that as well, where you can see, like, we pull right up to the crater, and it still has, like, red fire coming out. It's, like, the only time I ever saw, like, a red IED. It was pretty neat. So
that's pretty crazy. Sounds like fireworks.
Yeah, kind of. Well, exactly. I mean, phosphorus is road flare.
Right.
You know, essentially. A road flare bomb, you might as well say.
What happened to the dude with the car? Did he
kept going. He went into Tikrit, dude. That guy went car wash. I don't fucking know. Fucking, he went home and had a cigarette.
Fucking bailing.
Smacked his wife. I have no idea. Speaking of wives, though, so my very first mission without, like, we relieved the other people. We relieved the 101st. My very first mission when we had nobody else with us. This is us on our own. They wanted us to patrol past the ASP. You had the Tigris River right there.
Okay.
Yes, we were at the Tigris then. The Euphrates was second deployment. But we're going down by the Tigris River, and it's beautiful, dude. Like, my one sergeant was from Ecuador. He was convinced that the trees, because they had like a little orchard, he was convinced it was passion fruit trees. I have no fucking idea, but it was definitely some kind of tropical mango-looking, you know, tree forest over there that they were harvesting. And we're just going along the dirt roads. Cool, like, eroded hills right there, like half mountain. There's like little caves in it and shit. And then we come down. I think we were going to meet with the sheik of that area, and it's like almost like a nice little ranch house here in America, but like adobe brick kind of thing. Yeah. And I see like 5 or 6 men sitting out there, kind of in a half circle, smoking cigarettes. It's like $1.10. They're all drinking tea. They're waving. Like, mind you, we're just starting to establish a relationship with these people, you know? That's the people you got to be cool with because they run everything around there. They know what's going on. And I look up, and I see a lady in all black. You know, the burqas, the hijab, all the stuff they're wearing. And she had climbed the utility pole with no spike shoes or anything. She's just up on those little, you know, like little L-shaped things in it. Yeah. She climbed up to the top, dude, and she has a screwdriver and a cigarette, and she's working on their power while they're sitting there just drinking chai and smoking cigarettes. That was like my first serious case of culture shock, that they had their woman out there in 110 degrees dressed like Catwoman. Yeah. And they're just sitting there. They're just having a good damn time. And she's up there doing like some electrical engineering and shit, you know, civil engineering or whatever, dude.
Just, hey, honey, go poke that transformer with this screwdriver. See what happens. It ain't working right. What the fuck?
Well, she Catwomaned the shit out of that thing and got up there. So that was like the first time I ever saw like how much different it is over there, like with their women. And I can't remember if I told you the story last time about how the guy threw the rock and hit his daughter in the face.
I don't think so.
We were doing it was another raid. We got some intel on a house. It was in between Tikrit and Adwar. When you had the map up, I pointed out the town. I can't remember the name of it anymore, but if you pull the map up, I could show you again. And what I was doing, I was looking at the guys that were selling stuff on the side of the road, the women's dresses. I was gonna send one to my wife as a joke and tell her like, we need to get kinky with this, like to be funny. I look at that, but then I see this girl. She could have been anywhere from 15 to 25. Like I can't tell how old she was because she was acting like a little girl, all timid, and she kept poking her head out the gate. And I don't know if it's her husband or her father, had to be about 40. He had like a tie, and like he looked like a computer nerd, you know, the white shirt, the tie, slacks. Like normally you see him in man dresses, but she had like the traditional, but it wasn't black, it was like white shit. And she kept like, she would take the thing off her face and would like cover her face, take it off, and like, but she just kept looking, and he keeps yelling at her. So I'm assuming he's like, you know, hey, you dummy, get back, you know, stop looking at the American, stop listening. And finally he gets pissed, and he picks up like a fist-sized rock, and from like 10 feet away just throws it and hits her right in the face.
Jesus.
I mean, she was like fishtailing on the ground, you know, kicking her legs and shit. We immediately dismounted and beat the fucking brakes off that dude. Because if you see somebody causing, according to the rules of engagement, if you see somebody causing physical harm, especially that can kill, then you can use proportionate force to stop the incident. So we just gave that guy a beating.
Yeah.
But that right there, that was like
bad.
Yeah, that was like serious culture shock. I know we treated the girl. I think we just had her evacuated to Tikrit Hospital. We didn't we didn't take her back because we had a mission to still do. We were doing a raid, but we definitely had the Iraqis take care of her because she was fucked up, dude. Like
Yeah, she probably didn't go home to anything better.
No, hell no. He probably killed her. But I mean,
man, that's completely willing to if you're gonna hit her in the face with a big rock.
He had a bunch of testosterone dudes beat the shit out of him though, so I'm pretty sure his kidneys were at least hurting for a good couple months. So ribs, teeth. Guy. But that's culture shock, man. That shit was it was terrible.
Yeah, that's insane.
So as far as that, yeah, I mean, we saw quite a bit of shit like that, but that was like the first couple of instances, you know. That's like that's when it first set in, like how much different it is over there. So
yeah, that's sick.
Let's see, what else do I got? So coming out of our base, Woodcock, we have to pass through our security where we have our guys doing security, and then we actually have the gate, and then there's like kind of like a little short path that you go out from the gate. It's that path you take before you hit the road, and I believe the road is Dover, whatever. If you look at a map of Adwar, it's the main road that runs through Adwar. And my buddy Joe, they let me stay back that night, and my buddy Joe got to be the gunner. Well, Joe, he had some experience in the gun turret, but not very much. And like I showed you in the videos, you use a flag in the daytime to stop vehicles so they don't get close. If that doesn't work, you fire a warning shot. If that doesn't work, you disable the vehicle. If you cannot disable the vehicle, you kill the driver. Okay. You take whatever steps you need in whatever order, depending on the situation. Well, this is after curfew. Now, mind you, nobody's supposed to be on the road after 11 o'clock.
Okay.
This car is hauling ass. Like, he is about to turn onto Dover, and this car is flying at the convoy. So.
Yeah, that's.
So Joe does everything right. He, uses the green laser. Guy doesn't slow down. Pops a couple warning shots where the guy can see it, off to the side, sparks. You can hear it. I mean, it's loud enough. Fires those couple of shots. Guy still doesn't stop. And I believe, and I sent you the wiki link, I believe he tried to fire 4 disabling shots. And what we're assuming is one skipped off the hood of the car, went through and hit the guy in the neck. So they go off the road. My platoon, I got to stay back this time. I was chilling, like watching Smallville or some shit,
right.
Trying to be cool and just relax when this is going on. And apparently what it was is that guy was a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
He did not want to take his wife to Tikrit, but she was in labor.
Oh,
he was trying to get her down to Samara. I don't know if he worked there or what, but like by the time that guy got wherever he was going, he was dead on arrival. I don't know if she lost the baby or anything like that. I'm pretty sure she delivered the baby and everything, but that doctor died.
Yeah.
And like that fucked my buddy Joe up. I mean, I'm sure he's still fucked up over it, but it's like
that's pretty brutal.
It was a total accident. That guy, I mean, I get what he was trying to do and everything, but he had been there. This was after we had raided Adwar and let civilians back in. He knew the rules. Like you don't drive at the convoy and you're out after curfew.
Right.
You're perceived as a threat, dude. You should have all you had to do was pull over for 15 seconds. We'd drive right by. You could have even flagged us down and, we'd be a little hesitant, but we'd go over there and find out. We could have actually escorted you or called somebody for you, So that was pretty sad.
Is, what, 2000? Is that 2006?
This was 2007.
Yeah, so, I mean, everything had been going on long enough. And
oh, yeah, he knew what the deal
the rules
was.
were established, right?
Absolutely. And, he still would have had to make it through that Iraqi checkpoint right there. So I really don't know what the hell he was doing. I get he's panicking.
Losing it.
I can only assume that his wife had some kind of her labor was going bad or something, and he doesn't have any tools. So, but still, he could have called us.
Shit in a war zone. I mean,
yeah, but the thing is, he could have actually called our base. Most of the civilians back there had our number, the tip line or whatever.
Right.
Or he could have called the Iraqis and said, "Hey, my wife is going into labor. Can I have an escort?"
Yeah, no kidding.
And we would have totally did it, dude. No problem.
I think you'd want that in a war
zone. We have to go out anyway at night. All we're going to do is drive around and see what's what, unless we have an actual mission. We were already going out just to drive around. We totally would have escorted him wherever he wanted to go. We would have called up, got permission, and then drove him down to Samara.
That's
no
so
big
crazy.
deal.
That's awesome that you guys would do that, but that's, at the same time, I'm sitting here thinking, like, isn't that a perfect way for them to be like, hey, come on out. We really need help with this problem, and then you guys get blown the fuck up? I mean, it seems like something they could have utilized to fuck you guys, but...
Absolutely, but here's the thing. We would have just had the interpreter get on the bullhorn. At the time, we had the bullhorn. Have him get out of the vehicle, speak to the interpreter at a distance. Right. Most of us would stay in the vehicle, keep a distance from him, make sure he's not wearing a vest and everything. Mm-hmm. Have him take the keys out of the car. There's steps. It would have took a little longer. There's protocol though, but I'm pretty sure like it'd be kind of hard for him to detonate, like a suicide bomb. You clearly see if the guy's out there like that, he's distressed. Which that's usually a sign that they're going to do something, but this was something different. My point is it could have totally been prevented. The guy was just panicking. Yeah. And I mean, I actually fired a warning shot at a guy that I don't know if he was jamming to music or what, and I still don't know like what happened to that guy, but he went straight off the road, like cartwheeled off the road in his car, and we were hustling somewhere. Like, I don't know if somebody was hit or what, but it was like we had to get where we had to get.
Yeah, so you just get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah, and that guy was speeding past us. And all I did was pop some warning shots in front of him, and his car rolled into the ditch.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's okay, but whoa, man.
Yeah, right.
It's like you guys have been doing this for years, like, and us. We've been here for like 9 months at the time. Our TTP now. If we flag you or we hit you with the laser, just pull over. Just think of us like if an ambulance is going through in America.
Right.
You just pull over. Once we're past, go about your business.
All good.
Well, this guy was like, I don't know.
That's so incredibly lenient already. You know, to even allow that.
And that wasn't even during curfew. That was just a dude in broad daylight. I don't know, jamming to some Tetris theme music or some shit.
Up, oh fuck.
And so I
Tetris theme music.
I didn't tell you when we I made him pull over a guy in a truck when we were going through the ASP. He lived in the little town behind it, and I'm like, dude, stop that truck. I gotta hear what this guy's hearing, because like I know what it is. I know it. And the guy actually had a cassette tape, and it was Russian, and it was the Tetris music from the video game Tetris, and he was jamming it. I was like, Tetris, and he's like, yes, Mr. Tetris, and he's just he was loving it, dude, loving it. It was pretty funny, man.
That's awesome.
But another thing, so I told you about the IED, or we caught the guy and all that.
Yeah.
They had put me, like, we would trade guys around every so often. Well, I don't think that the first platoon sergeant liked me very much. Like, he was an ex-drill sergeant. He was always kind of a hard ass. I mean, he could be cool and everything, but for some reason he wanted me to be his lead gunner for a mission. Now, this is when I was talking about the mine rollers. It had a mine roller on it.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, where are we going to be going? They're like, we're going from Spiker to Adwar. I'm like, damn, dude, I just came from Adwar to Spiker. This is supposed to be my, couple days off or whatever. Now you're coming with us private. I'm like, oh, fuck me. And what vehicle am I in? They're like, you're in the mine roller. You're lead. I'm like,
it's like just a big old bulldozer on the front, right?
It's what the fuck are those things called? Steamroller.
Yeah.
Trigger mines and shit. That also has like a heated arm too for infrared, like you know what I mean? Like it'll anything that, like they were using garage door sensors and shit.
Yeah.
It has one of those that, like they called it the flag or something like that. It looked like the flag on your mailbox.
Okay.
They dropped that down. So it had one of those in front of the mine roller. So it's going to detonate all kinds of shit,
Oh.
But
and that just automatically sends out the signal. So if it's
I can't remember if it actually BAE made it. I can't remember if it sends out a signal or if it just heats up. And for like anything with it requires a heat signature. We have the Duke system in the back of the truck. It's like a box. And it'll send out signals or signal jammers. So let's say somebody's trying to use a cell phone. It's got all that shit loaded in it. It'll block signals.
That's badass.
So that's why they were using so much command detonated wire, crush switches, all that kind of shit, because they couldn't use electronics.
Right.
Like they couldn't even use, if we saw somebody with a cell phone during that time, like we'd see a guy standing on the roof looking at us using a cell phone, we just assume that somebody down the road is going to attack us and he's calling them. So we just have air support watch that guy. That way, if anything happened, somebody's going to go back and yoke him up too.
Yeah. Was there usually air support to watch people like that, or?
It varied.
Yeah.
I mean, generally we'd see the guys with the cell phones because, like I said, we had cleared out Adwar, Oja, Why Not, all that stuff. This would be on like the little houses or the gas station, stuff like that. That's just on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, they're headed towards Hamari Shop. They're headed towards Oja. They're headed towards Why Not, that kind of thing. So air support could just literally leave the base. It'll take them 3 minutes to get there, and they'll just watch the guy. And then once we get either close to where we're going or we're well out of the kill zone, so to speak, then they just go about their business.
Right. If something happened, though, they could have rolled them up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and all this whole mine roller, this is just on the front of a Humvee, right?
Yeah.
That's so fucking crazy.
That's weird. So what happened with that? I believe we were going down Route Barbie. Barbie sounds right. Barbie or Dover, one or the other. Like I said, I have the incident report for that, but we're all still convinced that somebody shot the tire out of our Humvee. Because all of a sudden we're going. Medevac status, of course, is red. We're like halfway to Adwar at this point. Medevac status goes red because a sandstorm, dust storm comes in.
Yeah, okay.
So they're like, call it up, medevac status red. And we're like, oh, great. I'm in this fucking mine roller. There's so much, concealment now from all this dust that it's terrible. I'm not going to be able to see anybody, that's not 15 feet away from my vehicle. I'm not going to be able to see any IEDs or anything like that. And one of our tires just blows. Just straight blows out. I'm like,
no pop, no nothing other than the tire.
Just the tire. I'm like, oh fuck. So we're, and we have to clear it before anybody can get out. I have to look at the road.
Yeah.
So I had like one of those million candle power spotlights,
Yep.
and I'm shining it around like I'm hanging over the glass as best I can. I needed to use a flashlight in the middle of the day. That's how dusty it was.
Yeah.
And my buddy Kennedy is like, we didn't have headsets. He's like, is it clear? And I go, no, man. Hold on, I still have to clear the back. And he goes, it's clear, and opens the door. And as he opens that door, an IED, like I said, I was the front truck. An IED exploded between my truck and the truck behind us.
Oh, no.
While I'm actually leaning over the back of the glass. So basically, I'm looking right at it when it blew up. And it was probably 10 or 15 feet away from me. And it just knocked me back. I cracked my head. Luckily, I had my helmet on. I fall back down in the Humvee. And my buddy Watson, my roommate, he was actually in the vehicle behind us in the turret too. So I'm pretty sure his turret got cracked and all kinds of shit. He got most of the blast. I had mostly asphalt and shit coming down on me. No shrapnel or anything. The vehicle did take some shrapnel damage. I know Watson's took the most, but most of mine was like right there at the trunk, which is still only a few feet from my face.
Yeah.
And then when we pull up some more, they're trying to figure out. They think it came from a house, 350 meters out. Blah blah blah. They think that's where the trigger man was. So the trucks there's like 2 trucks in the back that didn't take any damage. They decided to just drive over there like heroes, see what the fuck happened. While the rest of my guys, they're getting out to assess the vehicles and shit. Realized that one tire that had blew out had like a small hole in the side and like a blown out hole in the back.
Ooh.
It looked like it got shot.
Yeah.
It's not like a puncture from the bottom. It was from the side. So what we guess, and I stand by it, is that it was actually shot.
Yeah.
And they wanted us to stop there.
Like well, yeah. That was pretty damn well planned.
Yeah. I mean, once the tire blew and we stopped, it was like perfect, man. If we would have pulled up another 50 feet, then it just would have hit the truck in the back,
Would they even be able to do that with the sandstorm and everything going on? Or
well, yeah, why not?
Visibility. The visibility.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah. Did you guys have anything that you could see through a sandstorm with that?
I mean,
that you could.
You have like the LRAS, which is a big giant night vision.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of looks like one of those movable spotlights you see at like movie premieres, but it doesn't work very good in the daytime.
Yeah.
And this was daytime.
Yeah.
So
ton of particulate matter in the way too.
I don't think
how that would work.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be a problem with the dust. It's just the daytime, and I wasn't in a damn LRAS truck.
Right.
Definitely can't use night vision in the day. So, no. And I think they ended up going up to that house and they didn't find shit.
No.
So, who the fuck knows? Maybe the Duke was malfunctioning too, because you do have to get those things reloaded every so often. Who knows? I mean, that wire could have been ran, this way and then up and then this way and then over, and all they have to do is they just will have a aiming reference, like it'll be like a palm tree out there in the middle of nowhere, and they're way over here. They see once you cross that line of sight, hit it, and we were just stopped right there. I could not actually find the WikiLeaks for that in particular that mentions the tire, but I did find the tire getting shot. I did notice one where the tire was blown out and it mentions an IED incident. But I'm not, and it was first platoon and everything. I'm not sure if that's just one of the times that because they got hit a lot out there. They used to love that route for some reason, and they have had their tires blown out there several times. So I'm not sure.
I wonder if that was somebody's like MO, hit their tire and then hit him with the IED.
Who knows, man? Those guys were forever getting hit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Type in Alpha 16 319. You'll see.
Cool.
So
how bad was that as far as did that mess your head up? I
mean, like I said, I had just gotten hit, earlier in the week. So that was July 22nd when I got hit. It was either the week before or the week after. So I know it was with the span of 1 week that I got hit twice. Dude, it wrung my head, like massive headache.
And that was the one that was worse. This one you just said.
Well, the one before it was worse with the headaches and everything. Okay. This one, like the one before it, the concussion from that turned off everybody in the vehicle's night vision and shit.
Wow.
Yeah, because night vision, if you flip them up, they'll turn off.
Mm-hmm.
You flip them down, they'll turn on.
Snapped and stuff. Yeah,
they didn't even flip up. They were still on my eye and turned off from the the concussion.
It just thought it moved that much.
It thought it flipped off. And that one sucked real bad. This one, I mean, I had a pretty bad headache. I was also really dehydrated, so that made the headache worse. But my ears were ringing for like a good probably 4 or 5 days off that one.
Oh, jeez.
Because like I said, I wasn't even behind the glass. I was actually leaning over the turret when it happened. And then the platoon sergeant tried to yell at me for sending his guys out before I had cleared it. I'm like, dude, that is not what happened. I was in the process of clearing it and told him it was not clear when he opened the door.
Yeah.
Did
anybody trying to get out get hurt?
No, thank God.
It didn't sound like it.
I mean, a couple of them got hit pretty good with some. But a couple of them got hit with like asphalt and gravel. Like I said, we got very lucky. When they bury shit, it doesn't always blast out in multiple directions. Sometimes the way they'll set it, it'll blast, it'll focus.
Right.
Like I don't know if that was their intention or how they did it or what.
Yeah,
just like the one that hit my truck. Yep, the one that hit my truck the first time, the blast I was facing the rear. The blast was focused this way behind my truck.
Mm-hmm.
Had it been focused this way, it would have just rocked me.
Right.
You know? Like I said, in both instances, the only like physical damage other than the hearing and, you know, getting knocked out for a second, getting some nausea, headaches and all that, was just having all the shit rain down on me, pebbles and asphalt and all that shit.
Yeah.
So.
Ooh, that sounds horrible.
It's a rush though. It's scary as shit, but it's a rush.
Oh, I bet.
And let's see. I'm gonna end this one with my favorite. Well, I'm gonna tell you my favorite story. This one's my favorite, and tell you about some of the stuff we were using over there that is now being used in America by police.
Okay, cool.
So I'll just go ahead and tell this story now. So I told you we were working with the Special Forces in the ODA compound on Route 1, Business 1, yeah, which is in the Qadisiyah area of Tikrit. Okay, so it's down the street from Saddam's Mamun Palace, and there was another fob right there. I want to say it was Fob Hammer. Well, anyway, it was like it was catty corner to what was a bigger base that had already been given over to the Iraqis. So that area was kind of hot. I mean, Business 1, that's where I saw a lot of dudes get killed. None of ours like mine, you know, my unit, but a lot of other dudes. And I don't remember what all we went there to help them with. I know they wanted to clear some buildings, and the way it works, when we work with Special Forces, they'll go in. A couple of our guys will go with them. Our trucks will set up an inner cordon, like near the courtyard, and an outer, which is, you know, to get all the area surrounding it. So you got gun truck here, gun truck here, gun truck here, blah, blah, blah. Guys here, guys here, guys here. Yeah. So nobody can come out. Nobody can come in. All that. And I know we did one of those with them that night. I couldn't tell you what it was because we did quite a few of those. I mean, I've even like helicoptered in. No fast roping or anything, but, you know, the hatch would drop in the back. We'd get out. Special Forces guys, they'd do their thing. And then we have to stay there to do all the post-site exploitation, like go through all the bullshit that they didn't take, because they'll take all the pertinent shit and the guy ball him up. They're usually gone in about 5 minutes or less. Like those dudes are mad squared away. Yep. And then we are like the cleanup. We wait until intel gets out there to look at any other shit, but they grab all the super important shit just like that because they know the guy they're going for. So we did a raid with them, and like I kid you not, like these dudes had the coolest shit in their turrets. Like they had sawed part of the turret out. One dude had a M79 like flip open grenade launcher like from Nam. One dude had an AT4. One dude had a 240 and an M249. And these dudes are walking around in like flip flops and baseball hats with just like a plate carrier vest, like stubby saws, all this really cool shit. And they said, "Hey guys, feel free to use the gym, hang out, blah blah blah, watch TV." They said, "If we get attacked." They're like, we got a Barrett 50 cal on the roof. We have a M2 machine gun on the roof. There's several other things, AKs, RPKs, like all that kind of stuff. But the Peshmerga's up there. Now, that's the Kurdish guys. You know? Okay. He's like, I'm going to tell you right now, if anything happens, he's like, you're going to have to get up there before the Peshmerga if you want some, because those dudes get after it. Grab it. So we might have went on another mission or two, but the thing is, we're supposed to assist them all night. So we're spending the night there. They had us all bunked up. For some reason, my platoon sergeant at the time didn't want to bunk up in their building. And they had like gold AKs. I can show you pictures of me holding like gold AKs, all this C shit. They had like rocket tubes everywhere. They had like World War II guns mounted on their wall and all this shit. I mean, they just had tons of shit.
Too much fun.
And they had towers, and all the towers had like composition B explosive, like C4 and shit like that. In case they ever got overran, the last man is supposed to blow those towers so they can't be used against us. Wow. Like, it's just really weird shit because we kind of explored and shit like that.
Was this towers that they had built up, or?
Yeah, like concrete, like guard towers.
Okay.
Yeah, like cool. You know, 1.5, 2-story towers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. And when you go inside their building, it was like a villa, and you could go right up on the roof, and there's just weapons up there. Good line of sight over the rest of the city, you know. Pretty good cover because the walls are pretty thick and they've been reinforced with more bricks and sandbags and all that.
I need a fort like this.
Yeah, dude. And it was really cool inside, dude. And I want to say they even had like a little swimming pool, like an indoor swimming pool and everything. Their gym was pretty squared away. But the guys were really, really nice, dude. And I'm just like, oh man, you guys got all this cool guy shit. I'm like, you're walking around in flip-flops. And he's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, they were really, really cool, really squared away and very professional, even though they were out of uniform. I mean, the guys were great, dude, and they did their job fantastically. When they'd go out, though, they'd kit up properly, boots and everything.
For sure.
All their cool guy shit. But just chilling around the compound, it's plate carrier, some flip-flops, a chew-in, some sunglasses, and a baseball hat, you know. Nice. Well, anyway, later on in the night, we had to do radio guard. Basically what it is, all the vehicles have a radio in there, and you're connected to like battalion, brigade, whoever else is in the area. You're on the ODA's frequency and all that, and we'd rotate a 2-man guard. Listen to the radio, give up any reports, you know, call it up. You hear anything, relay it back to the guys that are chilling in the gym. We're like, cool. So me and my buddy Carl Alger, we're just chilling out there, right? I think you have to do a radio check like every hour with brigade and battalion and stuff like that.
Does everybody just sound off real quick or something?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
you know, like this Alpha 26, whatever, brigade radio check, blah blah blah. You know, that kind of shit. And we'd been chilling out there. I want to say we pulled like 2-hour guard shifts. We were probably out there like an hour and a half. I think we were playing like cards or something, or just telling stories, because Alger's a good buddy of mine. We're just shooting the shit. And all of a sudden we just hear boom, like the whole thing rattles. And then like not far in front of us, there's the building, you know, the like villa, and to the left of it is like you'd say the pool house that had the gym and the pool where my guys are. Right in front of us by a palm tree. Boom, you just see another explosion. They're fucking mortaring us, right?
Oh shit! Is this inside the base that it's going off?
Oh, you got to understand, this is like just a walled-in house in the middle of the city.
Yeah,
it's not even a base. It's
just kind of their spot.
It's a house
for a minute.
Yeah, it's some rich dude's house that they're living in, and they're actually impacting inside and right outside the gate. Like one made it in, the rest of them are hitting just outside the gate.
So they're pretty spot on.
Yeah, well, no shit, they know the guys are there. I mean, yeah, they're pretty good. So, like, we're just like, I look at Alger, I'm like, what do we do? What do we do? And like, obviously we call this up, so we start calling it up. I'm like, do we gotta move or do anything? Like, what the fuck? I'm like, dude, we're in an up armored vehicle. Like, these are not huge mortar. I think if we get out, we'd be stupid. You know, we'd do all the proper call ups and shit, relay it to my platoon sergeant who's in the other building, and he's like, stay put, man, stay put till it's over, blah blah blah. We're like, roger that. You know, I'm not trying to go out in that shit. And all of a sudden, I don't want to put his name out there, but it's like the funniest shit ever. One of our squad leaders comes running out. His kit is like still open. Rips the door open, and he says, God damn it, man, we got to get out of here. They're coming over the wall. And like slams the door and takes off running back in. And we're just like, what the fuck?
No shit.
Like, wasn't that like a famous quote from something? Like some major battle? Didn't somebody say they're coming over the wall or like, I'm like, dude, what do we do? And I was just like, I think we need to go inside with everybody else, man. Like, he thinks they're coming over the wall and we're right next to this wall.
Right?
Yeah. The gun wasn't mounted or anything. Everybody had all their weapons with them. Like, I had an M4, but like, I'm not trying to battle a bunch of crazed dudes that are just coming over a wall like 10 feet behind me. I want to get with my guys so we can stand off or get up on that roof. And already, dude, the Peshmerga up on the roof, dude, they're crushing it. They're just lighting up. Dude, they're lighting that fucking city up, dude. And I mean, they're choosing targets. like, I guess it was they were fairly tactically moving out there. There was guys that were shooting, I guess, and then there was also dudes mortaring. So it was a complex attack.
Yeah.
So we run back in there, link up with our guys, and first my medic buddy runs over. He's like, yo, you guys okay? You guys okay? I'm like, yeah, we're good. And I'm like, Smoke, we need to get up to the roof. Like, we need to get some of that. He runs in front of us, arms out, and he looks terrified. He's like, no, man, that ain't even why we here, man. We staying right here. We ain't leaving this room. I'm like, Smoke, we're here to help the Special Forces guys. They're fucking under attack. The Peshmerga's up there murdering the world right now. We need to help them. Nah, bro. That ain't even why we here. Y'all better not open that door. You stay right here, man. Man, you stay right here. So it all like dissipates and everything. Like, we're just sitting there chilling. Me and a couple of my buddies, we're over there like, what the fuck, Smoke? Like,
yeah, you had to listen
dude,
to him.
are you kidding me? Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you know, the mortars weren't coming down anymore, so you maybe could get shot by some, if a guy's elevated enough, maybe he could hit you with, you know, small arms or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But we weren't really even hearing any small arms that's hitting inside the courtyard. You hear a few hitting outside. And once it all dies down, dude, that cool Special Forces guy, the one with the hat and everything, he, like, kicks the door open and almost like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just kind of stand back. He's like, we're out there all of us getting blasted, and you guys are just standing in here like a bunch of pussies. Like, I'm paraphrasing, so I don't remember exactly what he said.
Yeah,
but he's obviously pissed off. So my platoon sergeant tries to pull him to the side, and the guy's like, fuck that. You need to tell your men why you told them to stay in here. Because one of us, it wasn't me, but one of our guys went out and snuck out and spoke to him anyway and said,
right.
Smoke won't let us out, blah, blah, blah. He's like, that is fucking bullshit. These men are they're here to do a job, and you are holding them back.
Good.
Like, trapping them inside of a building where if we were getting overran, you guys are all clustered together. What if they sent one really good rocket in there and it hits this building? You just lost your whole fighting force.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude,
just
it was
doing nothing.
It was insane.
That's
we were
awesome.
pretty upset. Like I said, I liked my platoon sergeant at the time. He's certainly not my favorite, but that was the guy that brought my chief to the house that day. You know, when I met my chief the first time, that was also the platoon sergeant that told me it was okay to take the time off to move my wife. Don't worry about it. We ain't got nothing going on. Just get your wife squared away. And then comes and yells at me, why wasn't you at work? It's the same guy, man.
Dude.
I'm not going to put his name out there, but that was
get his shit together
that was one of those situations where it's like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And
that's pretty lame.
I believe they ended up calling my first sergeant out there later, or we did another mission with him later, and I got pictures of that. Like, I know my first sergeant wouldn't have stood for that shit. He'd get out and get after it. He was a steely-eyed killer, man. That guy was awesome.
That's what you're there to fucking do, too. I mean, plus, in a little base like that,
man.
a little compound like that, you
bro.
do not want to sit there.
That ain't even why we here, man. That's a quote.
Just
that ain't
there
why
to
we
wait
here.
and get shot?
Mm-hmm.
Wait till it's overran and just get shot? What the fuck?
Yep. So that's like one of my favorite stories because that shit was really popping off. I mean, the Peshmerga, the Special Forces guy said he actually had to go up there and like slap one of them to get him to stop shooting.
Oh, shit. That's pretty crazy.
Because it had all died down, you know, and they were just still ripping.
Was there any other time that you were in a spot that was like under a swarm? It sounds kind of like a swarm-like attack where they're coming in from different areas.
Never a swarm like that, but definitely have been in close quarters like that where there were mortars coming in for sure.
Yeah.
Woodcock, like I said, they'd mortar us. I'd say they probably mortared us at least a good 10 or 15 times while I was there, and that's always scary. But you know, once you feel that first boom, and you realize, well, it's still kind of far, and then you hear the second one, it doesn't sound like it's getting any closer. Like I said, they'd pop maybe 3 to 6 at most. I sometimes would just sit there, and I've gotten yelled at for it along with my buddy Kennedy. We're sitting there getting chow, watching, like I said, probably like Smallville or some shit.
Right.
And everybody else is running to go get in the bunker, and we're just like, ooh, the chow line is open. So, you know, we're sitting there eating and shit. Everybody comes back. They're like, what the fuck? You need to be in the bunker. And it's like, dude, running outside where the mortars are is more dangerous than just staying put. I can hear them. They're not close. But I'm more likely to get hit outside than I am inside this building.
Yep. It sounds like they were typally just kind of trying to walk them in there too.
Exactly. They would aim for
dialed.
They would aim for our trash burning pit.
Right.
It's a big black smoke, you know.
Right.
And they'd try to walk them over.
Yeah.
They never got very good at it. I don't even think they damaged any of our vehicles. Now, scary part was we had to drive trucks out there to drop the trash.
Right.
And I was always worried when I'd pull that detail that they were going to start dropping them while we're burning it, like throwing the trash out there.
Yeah, that's let's go stand next to their aiming point.
Yeah, actually, you know, that's pretty scary
Sounds
shit.
Awesome.
So, the last couple things I wanted to talk about the first deployment, I think I pretty much covered everything cool, was they were using these things called backscatter vans.
Okay.
So, they were classified things. So if you didn't have a security clearance, like when the doors were open, I could not look in there or even speak to the guys that were when they were doing their job, because it'd be like at our job, the export violation kind of thing. I had no clearance to
looking at it or something.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need to be messing with that kind of shit.
That's pretty serious though for you to be restricted from it. I mean,
yeah.
Same team.
Like they will tell us the general idea what it does, but we're not to look at them while they're working kind of thing, mess with any of their shit, don't try to go in the van. And what it was is we drive them around, like Adwar specifically, and we're this van's in the middle of our convoy, and they could actually see through the buildings that we were going to raid, and it could see the thermal imaging of the people inside. I mean, you can look this up. I mean, right now, police forces in the United States, I think the last one I read was the New York Police Department is using that technology now.
I don't think you're the first person to even tell me that too. I swear I've heard of this before, and I know I've looked into it before.
Like with all that Homeland Security money and everything, I mean, you'd see that the police, they have a lot of really cool guy stuff.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like a lot of people say that can invade your privacy, which it absolutely could. But if there's like a suspected meth lab or suspected guys running guns or something crazy, or they think that he's like running underage prostitutes, well, if they scan his house, you get a pretty good idea what the guy's doing in there, Yeah,
I might be totally wrong. I have no idea, but I swear they can't use any of that shit in court. I know they definitely have gotten their hands on technology that they can't use in court and is illegit, but they get, they'll get the data or the information, and then they'll come in and raid on other terms.
I think they could use it as a cause for a warrant if they have other evidence. But I don't think it's admissible in court. I can't speak to it because I don't know for sure, but it seems like I read that too as well.
Yeah, they probably going, hey, we have this info, but also we know this shit over here,
Right.
And, well, all right, sign off.
But yeah, I mean, we were using those, and another piece of equipment we used a lot was a Raven.
What the hell's
a Raven's a little like a 2-man drone. Basically, you put it together. You remember the old gliders made out of foam?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's kind of like that. Take it out of a box, put it together. The guy has a little control stick. Kind of looks like a weird Atari controller. Had sex with like a laptop computer kind of thing, screen. And guy would run, throw it, and then you could fly it around, take pictures, video, the whole nine.
Nice.
I think we had like 3 of them crash.
Right. I'd imagine.
Like sometimes they wouldn't respond and they'd go out of our AO and crash, and we'd have to go find them and stuff. But that was the drone technology the guys on the ground during my deployments were using. I know that there's bigger things like predators and stuff in the sky, but like obviously we weren't controlling that. I just thought they were kind of cool,
Yeah.
And we had the robots too that they'd be in the back of the truck. You could drive them up to inspect things, like there were possible IEDs.
Okay.
We called them Johnny 5.
Were they like in what was that movie, Hurt Locker? Were they like
sort of?
Yeah.
Yeah. They weren't very high speed, but
no,
I mean they had cameras on them. They did have little arms that could move things and stuff. I watched the Iraqi army on my first deployment try to use one because they had them too, and we're just sitting there watching them. And we're like, what are these idiots doing? And they went up and just straight drove over the pressure wire with it and blew the robot to pieces. It was hilarious. Yeah, it was pretty brilliant.
Nice.
So, but that's most of the good shit or crazy shit.
The dogs.
Oh, the dogs.
First deployment.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, that's perfect. That is actually perfect to end with. So, like I said, we surrounded Ozha. We surrounded Wyandotte. Those are between Tikrit and Adwar. Cool. They're fairly small towns. I don't remember what their affiliation was, if it's Shia or Sunni. I just know that there was a lot of hostilities coming out of there, but it was like a small area. It's really weird. So we're on the outer cordon, my truck, and I think they sent maybe Bravo battery in to do the clearance, like we were trading off, and Alpha battery, we're just tasked with the outer security, outer cordon and everything. Some of our Alpha guys might have went in there too, and we also took those MPs from Woodcock. They did a lot of the traffic control points and all that. Well, I don't know what I ate, but I had like the shits from hell, dude. Like serious food poisoning. So I'm up in the turret. It's hotter than shit, dude. We're running low on like really cold water, and I'm crushing water, dude. Like crushing water. And every time I drink a bottle, I'd get the bubble guts so bad. And I'm like, yo, I gotta shit. Like seriously, Joe, get up in this turret, like for real. And I cannot shit with all that gear on. Now, mind you, they're in a toilet, so I can't shit with all this gear on. So what I'd do is I'd let everybody know where I'm going. I'd try to keep some kind of line of sight where Joe in the turret could see me, because between Oja and Wynot, it's all basically just big open desert.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few like foxholes and like parts where they dug with bulldozers and shit, but it's fairly flat, just wide open desert. And I'd go out there with my back to my guys. I'd pull my kit off, set it down, take my helmet off, set it down, take shirts off, because I like to poop naked. I don't know. It's some primal thing. So take all my shirts off, take my pants or my one boot off, take my pants off that leg, leave my pants on this one boot, and then squat down, and I'm holding an M4. Naked, just diarrhea shit, dude.
Middle of the day, right?
Oh, middle of the day, absolutely. And the Kiowa guys start flying over.
Oh, Jesus.
And, because we had air support, and they start dropping, change and bolts and shit. So I put my helmet back on, and there's, every so often a coin would, bounce off my head. I'd look at them, and they're laughing and shit. They're pointing and laughing. And then I hear him yelling up there, what sounds like somebody's yelling. I mean, it's loud as fuck. And I look up at the guy, and he's, waving his arms and, pointing. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I look over, and there's a really bad problem with feral and stray dogs out there.
Yeah.
I could show you tons of pictures of them eating trash. They're all emaciated. They kind of look like the dogs from Resident Evil with the skin hanging off and shit. Just really gross dogs. And I love dogs, man. But these fuckers were coming at me with a vengeance, dude. There's 4 or 5 of them snarling. They're running right at me. I'm naked, okay? I got my pants on one leg. I have no body armor on. I'm shitting. All I have is an M4. I had to blast the dogs, man. Yeah. Everybody's freaking out. I don't have a mic, so I can't tell them what's going on. And I had to blaze those dogs, dude. Naked, in a squat, shitting, shooting dogs. Because I'm pretty sure they wanted a piece of something.
Right.
And there was nothing else there but me and my poo. Huh?
How many was it?
It was 4 or 5.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely a pack.
Yeah.
So.
Pretty big dogs.
On the way back. That was probably the second or third time I'd actually went out there, though. Everybody's like, what the fuck? They're all freaking out. And I'm like, I had to shoot some dogs. Kiowa guys, they helped me out, pointed it out. But on the way back, I noticed probably 5 sets of copper wire, spaced out running behind our truck. I looked to the left. It's running out to MSR Tampa. I look to the right, and it looks like it's running to this little shed about 250 meters, 350 meters down. There's a road that runs all the way around the outside of the town, and there's lots of walls. It's a little road, kind of like an access road. If you live in the back, you would go around it and enter from the back. And there's this little halfway blown up, kind of like a stone or mud brick shed, and it looks like that's where the wires are going. So I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick them up.
Yeah.
So I walk. Okay. I pick them up because I know. I see they're going, super far in that direction. Super far in that direction. It's not okay. It's not hooked to anything that's going to blow me up. None of my guys are down there on the highway where that's at. So they're fine. We have no guys anywhere close to that little shed. So let's say they packed, 1,000 pounds of explosives in there. The chances of anybody getting hurt is 0. So I just clip them all,
Yeah.
And I grab a stick, just a piece of wood. Start wrapping. Grab the other side. Start wrapping. Walk to my truck like this. Just wrapping them up. Set it up on my truck. Climb up in the turret. And I just sit there wrapping them. They're like, what's that? I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of IED wires back there. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, just call it up. And by the time I get done, I have 2 softball size balls of copper wire from each end. The one on the right that was going to the shed, 2 of them had spliced, wall outlet plugs spliced to them. Yeah. Where if they were to had one of those external batteries, they just, when they see the guys going to cross that point on the highway, and it'll just blow it up. And I know it was a few weeks prior, I can't remember who we were following. They had got shot, RPG shot at them from Oja right there.
All the way out to the highway?
No, the guys were hiding along that wall that goes around the city and just hopped it or whatever. That's one of the reasons why we went into that city, because there was attacks coming from there, and there'd been a lot of IED attacks right in front of there, and that was one of the places that they were consistently just planting bombs and blowing them up. They would reuse the same spots. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I rolled up all those wires, And, I saved him from being able to use that spot again without running new wire. And we ended up calling, it might not even been an EOD that did it. It might have just been our guys just blew that little shed up.
Right.
But it was cool. Like I took pictures and shit and took them back to my commander and was like, yeah, this was running from here to here. Showed him on the map.
Yeah.
Showed him the plugs and shit. And they were all jazzed about it, but like I didn't get an award or a high five or anything.
So there was no munitions or anything down at the...
I mean, I was able to drag all but one of the wires back. I don't know if they got caught on something, but they all came fairly easily. I mean, there was resistance because I'm dragging it through the desert, and there's like scrub brush and rubble and shit. But I
wasn't hooked up to something, just kind of...
I mean, if it was, I unplugged it.
Right.
But we did have EOD go down there and assess that site. So I can't remember if they blew anything up, though. If they did, they blew it up after we left because, like I said, there was multiple different units out there. I don't think at that particular time that we had to stay behind and help them. We were tasked with, like I said, outer cordon. My guys inside were doing tactical side exploitation, balling people up and everything. So if they did anything over there, I don't remember. I'm sure they did. I know somebody went and at least checked it out. I can't remember if they had to blow anything up or not.
Yeah.
So
yeah, crazy.
But that was pretty wild, dude. I had to fight naked. That's pretty cool. While I was taking a shit too.
Yeah, all your clothes hanging off one leg.
Serious multitasking too. But the last thing I wanted to talk about first deployment.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lose a lot of people on this one, so bear with me. So, like, they'd take us out to the Western Desert a lot whenever there was like a VIP coming in. We had like the dude who played Lieutenant Dan, Gary Sinise came.
Okay. Yeah.
George Bush came. Some other senators and shit came. I know some singers and shit came. But every time that would happen, we were always the QRF guys. Or like I said, our battalion was responsible for so much shit out there. If they needed people to go out and do shit, there was only like one other group of dudes on that entire base that would actually go out and do shit. Other than like EOD and stuff like that, as far as combat guys, we were like it. So we'd have to go out to these things called POO Overwatch, Point of Origin Overwatch. It's places that had statistically been used for mortaring. So we'd send little groups out to each of these places where in the recent past they have fired mortars into the base. It's like an active denial thing. So we watch these spots that they already know they can hit the base, so they don't hit it while these very important people are there. And we're chilling out in the Western Desert. I probably couldn't even point out where we were on the map. It was just somewhere in the vicinity of Spiker itself. Because like on the left side of Spiker, you got MSR, you got the ASP, a couple little towns, then you got Tikrit, and past that Oja, why not? But on the right, all you had was that little tiny village, Al Sakur. That's what it is. The one I showed you pictures of, Al Sakur. And then there's, what was the name of it? It became an Iraqi base.
Here, toss this up here.
Trying to grab your dick. There. Stop it. There was some Iraqi base out there. I mean, most of the stuff on that right side that was with Spiker, there's not a whole hell of a lot on that side of the road.
So heading out west, so it's mostly just opening up to desert.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? And is there a river running basically from Tikrit all the way up north through all those towns? Is that what?
That would be that's the Tigris.
Okay, yeah.
Euphrates.
So it all just kind of follows that because the highway followed that too.
Yeah, pretty much. The Euphrates run like I said when we were in Adwar, where Saddam's little hidey hole was, just right behind that was the Tigris River.
Yeah,
and you can always tell when you're getting close because it's like a fucking jungle. Like when I saw the lady up on the pole, everything around there, it looked like tropical shit because they were so because they were and they had like the fruit groves and shit because they were so close to the river. But well anyway, we're out in the Western Desert and we know nothing's gonna happen. We're just chilling, and usually it's like a 36-hour thing. Okay. So I'm stuck out there for 36 hours. Nobody wants to sit in the turret. It fucking sucks. Well, at night, though, I'd always take my Chief's night vision because he had the single eye, the PVS 14s. I had 7s, like the ones in Ghostbusters that goes over both your eyes. Right. And they're garbage. And they're heavy. They're just shit. His were single eye. He'd let me use them all the time. I'm the lead gunner. What the fuck's he need night vision in the vehicle for? And I'd sit out there. It was a super clear night, one of these missions. And you could see, like, the shapes of galaxies, like spirals. And we could actually, like, we'd sit there and time satellites when they'd go over. You'd see a lot of shooting stars. You could see our aircraft with the IR beacons flashing and everything. But there's some other shit we were seeing. It was like white lights, and they would follow each other. And then they just make a crazy right-hand turn. They kind of follow each other a little bit more. And then they just take off and leave a streak. We're like, what the fuck, dude? We watched these things for probably a good 2 hours one night. The whole fucking platoon.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's aliens or anything.
Oy.
There's some shit flying around. Like there was some shit flying around out there that was not like normal. I mean, it was crazy.
Not
so
normal, not normal paths or nothing.
No, and like they didn't have any infrared or any flashing lights. It was just like a little in your green night vision. It was just like little glowing lights, and then but they just take off at such a crazy speed and like at impossible angles. They'd fly, they'd like stop, and they'd just turn like that and stop. They'd chase each other like in crazy shit, like all over the place, and then one would take off, the other one would take off, and we're just like, ha. And they're not flies or bugs, because like moths will just fly like that in front of you. These are like way the hell up in the sky. There. Like they look about the same size as the satellites. Satellites, they blink and go over, or they just move real slow, or planes and shit. You see the IR beacons on them. It was not any of that. So that was cool. I don't like tell a lot of people about that because like, oh, you fucking alien nut job, and it's like, nah, I'm just telling you, like we saw some shit flying around out there. I have no idea.
Some sort. I mean, it's unidentifiable.
It had no kind of shape to it that I could see. I mean, it looked like a little circle of light.
Yeah. And could you see those? Would that be kind of any time if you had?
I mean, I'd assume so. I mean, this just happened to be a super clear night. Like I said, we were able to point out like the shapes of galaxies.
Yeah. Like you didn't notice those weird UFOs though any other night?
Not very. No. I think that's the only night I ever really watched them actually.
Huh. And they just kind of hung around.
I'm sure there's been other times, but that's the one I remember the most.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we had nothing to do. We're out there. The vision was so clear that night too that with just night vision, it was very flat out there. Nobody's gonna approach us from anywhere. Like, good luck.
Right.
We're going to see you coming from far. So we were just like, some of us were just chilling on the truck, like with our kits open. People were taking naps and shit in rotation, Yeah. We kept a constant guard and everything. But I like actually stayed awake one night just purposely to do that, even though
that's cool.
I wasn't even on guard and I still was watching it. We saw them for, both those nights.
Oh, that's awesome. I was telling you just the other day that I never see anything like that. Like the weirdest thing I see is, I can explain it pretty well. It's just, it's just a little off.
I didn't see any like triangles or discs, or they weren't shooting laser beams or anything. It was just cool ass lights like chasing each other around.
I'd be happy to see a messed up flight pattern like that though. Something that you look at it and go, okay, airplanes aren't moving like that.
It was wild, and I've googled it before, just like Iraq UFOs, just to see if anybody else had anything like that. I think I'm the only person that I'd posted one story about it, just asking if anybody else ever saw anything like that. And I wasn't saying it was aliens or anything crazy like that. It was just like whatever these things were. They were flying real crazy.
Yeah.
It's just really neat because, like I said, we actually started. I'm real into collecting like meteorites and stuff.
Yeah.
I was just looking for shooting stars, and like I was stunned looking at the galaxies and all the stars that you can't see normally, because a lot of the electricity and shit's out over there all the time. So it's really dark, so you can just see all kinds of cool shit, especially with good night vision. It was great.
I'd love that. That would be so neat.
Yeah, it was beautiful, man. But I don't know what they were. They're pretty cool.
It'd be cool even if somebody had an idea of what if somebody had an explanation. Sweet, I want to hear it.
Right. Well, I've seen the videos of like from the International Space Station and shit where you'll see the little white lights flying around. Sometimes you'll see one that'll take off.
Mm-hmm.
I know you see it. That's kind of what it looked like.
Yeah.
But I mean, they don't even know what that is either. That could be space junk.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, we had really good visibility. Like I said, I could see like the shapes of spiral galaxies and stuff.
That's super neat. That's so cool. We didn't.
It was beautiful, and I wish I would have had like a night vision or like a telescope. Just not even fuck those lights, just to look at the galaxies and the stars, because it was amazing. I mean, it was beautiful.
Yeah, we're lucky out here. If you see the Milky Way, you got to go out to the country pretty damn well out here to even get to that.
Yeah. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, it was just really neat. I wish I would have been able to get some video or something. The way we were recording things with night vision is we'd hold the night vision up and just take a regular camera and try to film. I know I have some videos of us like blowing stuff up, with EOD and everything that were filmed that way.
Yeah.
But with this, it's like whatever, dude. I'd have to sit there and follow him around holding it all ridiculous. It wouldn't
Probably
work.
ain't gonna work out anyways.
And you know, by that we'd been out that long. Chances are everybody's camera's dead because you know everything ran on batteries.
Yeah, what were you saying? Your camera had like what, 10 minutes?
I had a Tony Hawk helmet cam. It had a 256 megabyte memory card, and it ran on, I think, AA batteries. Yeah. So you'd get like 10 minutes of record time if you had full batteries. And it all depended on what kind of, I think it had like 2 video options.
Yeah.
It depended on which one you picked, but like the max was like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know?
That's so crazy.
And to get like a 1 gig card at the time, it was probably like $40, and they never had any at the PX on post, you know?
Right.
So I had that. I can't even remember where I got it. I think somebody got it in like a care package from some random person, you know, that wasn't even family. And I was just like, let me get it.
It's crazy how much that stuff's changed.
I wish I'd had a GoPro.
Yeah.
I could have came out with some really awesome videos with a GoPro. But,
yeah,
you know, by the time I'd hit record on that, if I'm trying to record something, all the cool shit's already happened. Or
you kind of need something to
catch
just
the
run
tail
all the
end.
time. Yep.
So.
Yeah, that stuff's gotten so much better because it wasn't, I mean, 2007 was not that long ago, you know. And
absolutely. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it for the first deployment. Like I said, this time I brought notes on what to talk about, as I covered most of it.
Nice. Oh yeah.
So,
well, that's awesome, man. So, let's see. First deployment ended when in 2007?
Let's see. I think we came back in. Let's see. Went in. It was August of 2006. And our deployment lasted 15 months, so
about
November-ish.
Yeah,
November-ish.
Cool.
November of 2007, we came back, and by December of 2008, we were deployed again. And this time it was Baghdad.
So about a year off, or a year back around.
Yep, you got
States.
your 1 month of leave and all that stuff. 1 month of training at JRTC in Fort Polk, Louisiana. That was kind of wild too. You know, they have like mock Iraqi cities in there, and it'll be they hire local people to dress up like Iraqis, and they'll be like hidden in the walls. They'll have fake bombs, and you got to question these people. Like one time they had a little person.
Yeah.
Like the guy had to like carry her out of the van, and we weren't supposed to talk to her because you're supposed to separate the males and females, and then have a female question the females if you have it, kind of thing. It's just really bizarre. It was like a 6'5" guy. He was like carrying this tiny person on his hip who was probably like 26, and he's just like carrying her around, set her down with the women. It was wild.
That's so weird. Was it at all representative of what you experienced over there? I mean, did it even really teach you much?
I mean, kind of, yeah. The setup of the town itself, like, it looked legit just in the middle of the Louisiana forest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Wrong background,
like
but
it was
right place.
Yeah, it was actually, they did a pretty good job. And I took a class through JTAC. I can't remember what their acronym stands for, but they teach you how to look for caches and IEDs and all that. They give you a lot of books on IEDs. I even got offered a job by those guys. And they're like, when are you getting out? And I'm like, I'm medically getting out. This was after the second deployment, though, when we went back again.
Okay.
And I'm like, I should be out in a couple of months. Like, yeah, give us a call, because I was the only person in my brigade to get 100%. I had taken the JTAC course the last time, so I remembered most of it. And I was one of the few, like, what they were doing is the people they were sending from the brigade to go down there were just like clerks and people that aren't doing anything. Like, very rarely was it a combat arms guy, because those guys were training.
Right.
I got to go because I was already hurt, so there's certain things I couldn't do at the time. You know, I'm obviously not going to be like jumping out onto their drop zone filled with horses and shit.
Right.
So I got offered a job, and I never followed up on it. I knew that I'd have to travel to like other bases, Afghanistan, all that. Like, it was a lot of travel, and I was just ready to be home with my family for a time. You know.
Yeah,
so,
did you have your son at that point too already? Or
Yeah, my son was actually, he was born on November 16th. I left for Baghdad December 12th.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
so
that's
both
right.
kids were kind of like, hi, see you in a year and a half.
So
that sucks.
Second deployment was much more mellow compared to the first. We were in the Karada district, which is a very affluent area of Baghdad. like one of the richest. Very, very, very nice place. I mean, by Baghdad standards, I mean, even by American standards, part of it was pretty damn nice.
How big could you compare Baghdad to a city that I would be able to reference to, or
Baghdad itself is massive.
Yeah.
So
okay.
it was broken into sections. We had the Karada Peninsula. So if you look at a map of Baghdad, you'll see this weird, almost like a sideways Florida-shaped peninsula. We had the peninsula area, and then like like a section past the peninsula. That was for my battery. Like we had all that, and like inside of our AO was the entrances to the green zone. Like all that shit you ever see in the movies. The green zone, international zone, it's where all the embassies are and all that crap. So we could go in and out of there. That's where we would go to take showers and go to their gyms, eat good food, stuff like that. So, yeah, that was pretty cool.
Kind of a home base there.
I mean, no. Our home base was actually JSS Babel, which you can Google that. I can't remember the street it was on, but it was right, like literally we're on the Euphrates River.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. And there was an Iraqi police station. Basically what we were in was a mansion. Okay. Just like the ODA compound, it was a mansion. And we had all these like concrete walls you'd have to get through to get to our base. So you couldn't just drive a car bomb in. We never had anybody mortar that. They did shoot a rocket at it once when I was asleep, and it scared the shit out of me. Landed like right in the river right there, and that was a massive bastard. If that would have hit the building, we'd have been done. I know the whole back wall was like already blown out from some kind of an attack, and it was all sandbags. And our gym was on the back balcony, and we had like sniper screens hung up on it.
Yeah.
So.
Were there big buildings around at all? I mean, that they could be able to get a good purchase and.
Well, right across the street was apartment buildings.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
then
crazy.
there's a mosque right there, like one of those super tall mosques. And they do their little thing every day, the prayers and all that.
Did they ever attack from mosques or?
Yeah, they did, but not us there. Like I said, that deployment, we were one of the the group we relieved said that they used to do patrols and shit, but when we started actually doing 4, 5, 6 foot mounted patrols a day. I mean, we were getting the fuck after it, dude. I put thousands of miles on foot in that area. They said a lot of the locals we talked to said they hadn't seen soldiers do that in at least 3 or 4 years. Like they'd just drive around, maybe talk to a few people, and then go back. We were doing foot patrols, which was wild. I got tons of pictures of that, dude. Like,
was it getting more wild there at the time, or
no? Actually, it was a lot. It was a lot less wild because our presence was so heavy.
Yeah.
And we had pretty good rapport with everybody around there. Like, we never got hit with any of the EFPs, the explosively formed penetrator IEDs, because the Iraqi police, which would be the Iraqi national police at the time, they would de-rig the things and bring them to us, say, hey, we got intel on this, and then we'd blow them up.
Nice.
Like, that happened a lot. One particular instance we were at, I'd have to look at Google to name the hotel, but it was like a big fancy hotel before the war. Like a lot of British people would go there, Americans too. And we were driving by one day doing a patrol, and there's a bus right there. And I started talking to the interpreter, and I'm like, what's that? And he names the company and shit. And I'm like, where are those people from? And we get out to go question them, and they're British citizens. They're on vacation. And that was wild.
What? On vacation?
On vacation in Baghdad. Like, that's how much better things were getting.
I'm amazed they let anybody in and out.
Right. I don't know how they did it, but they were definitely British citizens. And there's like in front of the hotel, they had really tall concrete walls, like in the street, kind of like construction barriers. And we didn't think much of it at the time. They had planted IEDs in them before, but we go to leave, drive past. Well, like 15 feet in front of their bus, there was a section that had been blown out of that wall, and it looked like it was patched. But what they did was they put an EFP in there, and they put spray foam, and they painted it to look like concrete. The thing is, the trigger guy, it either wasn't hooked up or the trigger guy wasn't there that day. And, a couple hours after we get back, the Iraqis are like, yeah, we found another EFP, and then we found out it was literally like 15 feet in front of that bus, but it was aimed into the street. Like, they're parked in front of the hotel, it's aimed in the street. Like, that could have killed an entire truck of people, no question.
Oh yeah.
But they were really good about that. So
wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Let's see what else. I know I got some more good shit. Let me see here.
I mean, if nothing else, go at it chronologically, or however it kicked off.
You didn't see a lot of trash trucks either. Like
No.
they were sort of getting that together by the second deployment, because what was happening a lot, and you'd see it on the news, is if they'd get a hold of like a big dump truck or something, they'd just pack it with explosives. They'd drive it to a checkpoint or whatever.
Oklahoma City, that shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was very rare to see like a trash truck, and they'd have big trash bins like we do, like dumpsters. We were very, very wary to drive past those because it had been common practice for them to pack those up too.
Yeah.
And you drive by those, even little trash cans on the street. Like that did happen every so often. None of them ever hit us. But I'd say by the time we left, like they actually had a garbage service going. And then once we left, that's when they started using the dump truck bombs again. Like like I'm telling you, dude, we had that place locked down. And as far as I know, and I have not confirmed it, like looked it up, but from what I was told, the guys that relieved us at JSS Zafrania, because we had JSS Babel, which is where my battery lived. JSS Zaf is where Bravo Battery and everybody else lived. They had a different area. We all consolidated and moved from Babel, and we all moved into Zaf by the end.
Okay.
So Zaf had towers, the concrete towers like I was telling you about. We'd all have to pull guard up there. And I guess after we left, 2 or 3 of those towers were hit with rockets, like RPGs and shit. And like dudes died up there, at least a couple.
Huh.
And this was within a couple of weeks of us leaving. I remember one time, one of my buddies got caught huffing computer duster, right?
Oh, jeez. Like over there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, great.
So I don't know if he was doing it to be funny or what, but he got caught. So he's the driver. And it's like, whatever, that was an idiot move, but they gave him, what is it called? Hard labor. They gave him a hard labor. So basically what they made him do was put on PT shorts and a PT shirt. He had no guards go outside with him, but he went outside the walls of JSS Zaf. The only people protecting him were the guys up in the tower.
Just like in workout clothes.
In workout clothes. No weapon. And had him digging pipe up.
What the fuck?
Dude, anybody, if they would have just started blasting at those towers real heavy and a swarm of like 15 dudes came up, they could have kidnapped that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that was just easy target. I mean,
they gave him and like after he finished his term and shit, like his hard labor and everything, we get back home, then they tried to dishonorably discharge him.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and he ended up fighting all that and like somebody should have been brought up on charges for doing it that way, because I don't see how that's even safe at all. Like that was fucked up, especially with soldiers getting kidnapped and shit. I know now he has an honorable discharge now, and he's using his GI Bill and shit. I mean, he's a good dude.
That's a dumb thing to do, but come on now.
Yeah, man, that was some scary shit, dude.
Yeah, I mean, that like your punishment is we're gonna risk your life blatantly for really no reason.
He didn't even have body armor on.
No, that's crazy. Yeah, that's really just we'll risk sacrificing you just to make a point. And
it was like 45 days. 45 days of that too.
That's insane.
For sure.
Yeah.
So. And I like I said, I'd get food poisoning every so often over there. We'd go to, there was this one vendor that would sell hamburgers.
Yeah.
And I never saw anybody selling hamburgers. Like you'd see kebabs and stuff, but like we'd probably seen 10 cows the whole deployment, and they're all emaciated.
Yeah.
Like remember I showed you the videos of the pictures of the goats eating trash.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I have to actually watch ladies like dump their trash over a fence, and there's like one emaciated cow tied to a tree where you can see its ribs, and it'd be eating this trash.
Wow.
Well, these burgers were they tasted weird, but they were good. They kind of tasted like the kebabs, but like just in patty form.
Okay.
And all they ever wanted to put on it was this weird fucking mayonnaise, and I hate mayonnaise. So I just get the burger plain. And I remember asking my interpreter, I'm like, "Hey, Wiseman," I'm like, "I don't see any cows around here, dude." And I was like, "I know they hate dogs."
Yeah.
And I was like, "It seems like some of them keeps cats as a pet. Like they used to ride around with shotguns. They'd brief us first, and the Iraqis would ride around with shotguns and shoot stray dogs because they were so bad. Like especially in the city, like." One dude did get bit by a rabid dog. I think that was a second deployment. It wasn't one of our guys, but it was one of the guys on one of the bases that we had frequented. And they ended up catching the dog, finding out it was rabid and shit.
Nice, great.
So the Iraqis started instituting a policy because they hate dogs anyway for some unclean reason or some shit.
Well, if they're running around that crazy and rabid and all that shit. I mean, it's kind of understandable.
They were blasting them. Yeah. So I asked him, I'm like, Wiseman, I'm like, what are in these burgers, dude? Because I don't see a lot of cows. He talks to the guy, and he turns to me, and he goes, Sergeant Ames, he says they are meat. I'm like, no shit, it's fucking meat, Wiseman. What kind of meat? He talks to the guy again. He goes, he will only say they are meat.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, so am I eating rat or what? The guy was super nice. He spoke a little English, not much. I mean, just like very, very, very basic. But it was pretty funny. So I'd get his burgers a lot. I did almost die of food poisoning, but not from Iraqi food. We went to Fob Prosperity, one of those places in the green zone. We do our refit thing. You know, they had a great gym. They had nice showers, like really nice showers. And they had bazaars where you could get bootleg movies. Like we had a bazaar trailer, so there's very limited things to pick from. They had like shops. Like you could buy all kinds of shit. I saw Australian soldiers in there. Some dudes from like, I don't know, like Uzbekistan or something with P90s. Like it's just really cool. Like
that's neat.
I see Brits there, Canadians. It was just really cool.
A cool little hub.
But I went into our chow hall, American DFAC, and they'd have like special days. They'd have like stir fry day, or they'd have the hot bar day with like fried chicken, burgers, all that crap. And I remember I got the stir fry, right? I like stir fry, and it had shrimp. I'm like, cool. I watched them take this frozen shrimp, cook it all up. Cool. I bang it. Well, later that night I start feeling like really dizzy and shit. Like whatever. I got too much sun because, you know, we were doing all those patrols and shit like that. I might have even done a little time in the turret too.
Yeah.
My platoon sergeant loved to put me in the turret because I had a lot of experience. And next morning I woke up. I did not feel much better, dude. I was super pale and like getting the chills and everything. And it was like straight up summer, like hot as shit. And they're like, they're like, hey, look, we're looking out, guys. We're going to go back to Prosperity. We're going to tell them we're going to do a presence patrol up around the IZ. We're going into Prosperity. I want another shower and another good meal. I'm like, cool. Well, by the time we get there, my vision starts getting all blurry. I get real dizzy. I go to get out of the truck. I said, I'm going to go ahead and go to the shower trailer. And my vision starts acting like it's drunk, like jerking like this.
Yeah.
And I start losing equilibrium, like I can't walk. I get into the shower trailer and I crank. Like I feel hot, I feel cold, and I just start puking out both ends when I get in the shower. I mean, I'm just water out everything, and ended up cranking the water up like as cold as it would go, and I just straight passed out. I guess they found me. Like they were wondering where I was at. They all were doing their thing. They found me like 3 hours later, and I was still laying under that shower, and they got me out of there, helped me get dressed, drug me back to the truck, and the medic that was there gave me an IV. They took me back to the cache to check me out, or whatever they call our little medical thing at Zafrania. And they're like, dude, you have like severe food poisoning. They gave me a bunch of other shit, another IV. They're like, if you'd have waited like another 24 hours, this might have killed you.
Right.
And so later that night, we had a mission to escort engineers. They were fixing an overpass or something like that. Now, you remember how I said they'll give people breaks? Like, you can stay back tonight? Yeah, I didn't get one. They gave the break to my squad leader, which he needed it, but I had to lead the convoy in his place. So every
So your lead gun again?
No. Well, lead truck, but in the TC seat this time because I was a team leader at the time, so I was standing in for my squad leader. You know, and every probably 15 minutes I'm holding the door open and puking on this bridge. You know, this overpass. It was terrible. Like that was one of the worst nights of my life. And while we're on the subject of food poisoning, we did do another neighborhood clearance where we were going door to door, and we had to clear this whole neighborhood. It is going to be like a 3-hour mission where we knock. Just make sure everybody, you know, are you having any troubles, this, that, you know, of any enemy. Like this was a very chill thing with the Iraqis. We had the SOFA agreement had kicked in, status of forces agreement. That's where you let the Iraqis lead. Everything you do, you have to do with the Iraqis. Unless you are like imminently threatened and shot at, you know, you can engage and everything, but every other mission you have to take your Iraqi counterparts with you. It's part of the handover process. That started on January 1st, 2009. So we'd really only been there a couple of weeks when that started. But we're doing that neighborhood patrol, and I had a weird feeling in my stomach. I fart a lot. I'm like, I'm just gonna bust one out real quick, and it had like I felt nothing, like no sound, no vibration. My stomach didn't hurt or anything. It was just like, Well, that was weird. And I'm sweating like crazy. I feel sweat all running down my legs, chest, and everything. I got like 92 pounds of gear on. I'm like, that fart didn't feel right. I'm like, kind of wiggling around. I'm like, my ass feels really sweaty. And one of my buddy comes up to me and he's like, what'd you sit in? I'm like, I didn't sit in anything. He's like, dude, the whole back of your pants is brown.
Oh,
I'm
no.
like, oh, God. I look back, and it was just like, it was like brown water. Like, I didn't even stink.
Right.
And it didn't hurt my stomach. I didn't even feel like I had diarrhea. So I go tell my smoke. I'm like, Smoke Yak. I'm like, please tell me I could sit in the truck if you can't take me home right now. And he's like, dude, we got this whole neighborhood. And he's like, why do you need to sit in the truck? He's like, you're a hard charger. You know, you're my guy. Why are you doing that? And I'm like, I shit my pants. He's like, what are you talking about? I turn around and he's like, holy, yeah. You can sit in the truck.
Yeah, you did.
So I probably spent like 30 minutes on foot, and then he's like, help us with this. So I had to clear a few houses and shit with shit all over myself. And then sat in the truck. I ended up having to replace the cushion because it just soaked the cushion and everything. Like I said, no smell or anything. It's just like, damn.
Yeah, it's still disgusting.
Yeah, and I ended up shitting like crazy. After that first food poisoning too, I ended up shitting for like 4 or 5 days, like bad.
Right.
And on that topic, I'm sorry to keep talking about poop, but
whatever, man.
we had this guy that lived right outside of JSS Babel, and he was the guy that would clean we had porta-johns.
Okay.
We had no plumbing. We had porta-johns. This guy would come in, and he was like always smiling. I think he had like some kind of mental defect, but his family had worked for the American forces for a while. I don't know exactly what they did, but this guy always wore a hat that said, I heart Jesus. Okay, because now a lot of things people don't know. Yes, Iraq is very Sunni, Shia, and all that, but Baghdad's kind of like Vegas, where almost everything goes. So you had Christians, you had Kurds, Shia, Sunni. You'd see liquor stores there, even though that's illegal. You'd see girls walking around in skirts and everything. But this guy, apparently he loved Jesus. This guy would come in with a big, like a stew pot and a ladle, and he would ladle out our porta-johns. Guy never gagged or anything.
Come on.
He's scooping it all out, and then he'll carry it right down the path to the Euphrates behind our base and just dump it out.
There was not a better way to do that.
Well, I mean, I suppose we could have got like
Probably
a septic truck or something, but we give this guy, some money. He lived in the neighborhood. He was more than happy to do it. He loved doing it. He's helping out.
Wow.
I could ask around. Maybe somebody would know, but somebody ended up murdering that guy because they found out he
come
worked
on.
for us. But he was like super happy to do the job.
He's literally cleaning up shit. Let him be.
Right. I mean, I don't know if it was because he worked with us or just
Probably,
because
but
there's a lot of hostilities in that area, or it's like, they're always killing civilians and shit. Who knows? It could have been an attack like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Sounds like it'd be.
But we actually had a guy that
the
was
other way.
ladling our poo.
That's insane.
And like I said, with all the food poisoning and shit going around, the stuff he was ladling was
no good.
He should have had a biohazard suit.
I'm still kind of in shock that you guys ate so much just native food there. That, I mean, it was.
Oh, I got a couple more stories about that too. Well, first deployment, we did not have anybody to ladle them, so we had barrels that were cut down instead of a tank under the porta-johns.
Yep.
With handles, we'd stick a stick in there, pull them out, dump diesel on it, and burn it.
Yeah.
And we'd get mad as hell when people would throw like baby wipes and shit in there because baby wipes take forever to fucking burn.
Longer than poo?
There's nothing like a nice hot day and poop smoke blowing all over you.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Man, that's like a good Saturday right there.
Yeah. Oh. But about local food, so my platoon sergeant was Egyptian originally.
Okay.
He's from Egypt. And we kept seeing these guys, they'd have these weird, like little grills set up, kind of look like the screen on like a round grill, like two of those together, and they'd have it on like a spit.
Okay.
And they'd have these like flat fish in there. Now, you're a fisherman. It's a fucking carp. Big scales.
Yep.
Like it's clearly this is a river carp. Now, mind you, what I tell you that dude was dumping in the river. He's dumping shit in the river. So they're dumping all their nastiness in the river. First deployment, people didn't have plumbing. They would dump their shit in the streets. So when I'd have to hose my truck off after the mission, like any of the lower guys like myself, there'd be poop and piss like splashed up on the truck.
Awesome.
So this guy, he's like, I'm going to get me one of them fish. I'm like, don't do it, Smoke. That's a river carp, dude. And that is a nasty river. I get it. That's like
those are bottom
this is
feeders,
like
though,
the
in
water
the
of
shit
your
river.
homeland and stuff, dude. I'm like, she ain't lived here in a while. I'm like, and that's a bottom feeding nasty fish. I'm going to get one. Wiseman, go ask how much they are.
Yeah.
Wiseman comes back and says they want $18 for this fish. I'm like, okay. He's like, I'm going to get one. I'm like, all right, Smoke. I'm like, I get it, dude. Fish does sound good. I'm like, but that's a carp.
Yeah.
That dude is cooking it with a rusty grill on the side of the road. Like, you're not going to a restaurant for this. This is on the road. That dude got so sick, dude.
Yeah.
Like, so sick. And I did see a Vice article. I don't know if it was on Vice News Tonight or what. It was on one of the HBO episodes where these dudes started like a Trump fish company in Baghdad. Oh. Then I saw them cutting up the fish, and what they were cutting up was one of those carp. And their logo has like Donald Trump's face and shit.
Nice.
I was like, man, I wonder if that's like those guys, like they got a business now.
Oh,
or
yeah.
what.
Now they serve the best fish.
Yeah, it's just, it was funny. But we're on the topic of food. I did want to put this out there. So my commander at the time, he was also one of those dudes that was with 573rd in Bakuba. Now he is a battery commander. He's in charge of us. I think before he was like a platoon leader or something. My platoon leader was also in Bakuba, but I think before that he was like an XO or a lieutenant doing something else, staff officer or some shit. And he was getting intel on this restaurant. Like literally you walk out of our base, go down like 3 blocks, and there's this restaurant. This restaurant had a hookah bar, like where they'll bring a hookah to your table while you eat. Women will come over and refill it, like light it for you.
Fun.
They had all kinds of good food, dude. Like I hate curry, but they had all these curry dishes. It was like lamb curry, like fish, kebabs. Like me, I love kebabs, dude.
Yeah.
Like I went to Arab Fest here just to try their kebabs. Like it's a fucking beef stick, dude. It's so awesome though.
And Arabs extra pro it or something?
What?
Are Arabs extra pro at it or
yeah,
something?
the type of kebabs that they make are actually an Arab dish.
Huh.
Like everybody thinks like Greek and stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's different. It's like
they got it down.
Patties, yeah, and falafel. They make falafel, which falafels are cheap, dude. 50 cents you could get a falafel stuffed with the little falafel balls and shit. But he's like, yeah, you guys want to go get some real food? We're like, fuck yeah. So he takes our platoon down there. We go through, clear the basement, like just to make sure. The basement's where they have prostitution and stuff. Like they'll have women dancing, like women like dancing on tables and shit. And the men, there's rooms back there. The men can actually prostitute.
Huh.
I don't know anything about this restaurant, like who runs it or anything. But there's a reason my captain's like, you guys just want to go eat. And he works out a deal with this guy. He's like, yeah, we'll pay you cash. You know, we got cash for this. And he's like, guys, don't worry about it. He's like, we got funds for this. You know, for things like this, it's fine. We're like, cool. I got pictures I can show you on Facebook where I'm sitting down eating in a restaurant and you see 2 guards outside. All we did was rotate guard, smoking hookah, you know, eating and everything. Like my squad, and then they'd bring in the next squad and everything. Our bill was something like $400, $350 or something. And then my captain just turns to the guy. Like the guy just kept bringing hookahs and extra food, crazy desserts and shit. My captain just stands up, looks at the guy. He's like, fuck your bill, or something to that effect. Let's go. And we just leave. It turns out that guy was part of, I want to say, the Iranian Badr Corps.
I don't know what that means.
Just Google it. But he's a Iranian sympathizer.
Okay.
Like, working in this area. Like a lot of the things that were going on, they had a hand in. Be it political shit that was fucked up in our area, attacks, housing the enemy, just like all kinds of stuff. My captain knew, like he's been briefed, he's tracking. We just ripped those dudes off and straight ate their food.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
Just vengeance against them, or?
I mean, kinda. And he was also gathering intel, like being nice to the guy, acting like he's drumming up business when in reality he's getting intel from the guy, getting cool with him. Yeah, we come back down here. We do this once a week, man. Make you some money. Just let us know what's going on in this area, man. The people like us. The civilians love us. Like, I'd say at least 5 or 6 out of 10 minimum, they did like us. Like I said,
right?
You got Christians down there and everything. Like even some of the younger, like Iraqi dudes that would spit at us in Tikrit, they're just like listening to the music we're playing in the Humvee and shit, and they're like, yeah,
right.
So
yeah. I know Baghdad was supposed to be pretty modernized and first world influenced.
Right.
Man, I don't know when was that, like the 70s or something, maybe,
right?
Or
and that's why they had the tourism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it really wasn't that bad, dude. And all right, so the SOFA agreement I mentioned,
Wait, the what? The
SOFA agreement, status of forces agreement.
Yeah. The whole.
So that was January 1st, 2009. Within 12 hours, my platoon made an international incident.
Oh, good.
Let me explain this. So, like I said, we got there. It was like December 12th, December 18th, December 8th, like somewhere. We'd only been there a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We had just got to the point where we're maneuvering without the other unit that was still there. You know, the left seat, right seat ride thing I was talking about, ripping out. They're completely gone. So we go up basically, like I said, it's a peninsula. We go up to the tip of the peninsula. There's a bridge that crosses over. That's somebody else's area. So what we do, we went up. We're trying to learn our AO, our area.
Mm-hmm.
We're just doing a lap of it, right? Come up. We turn around on that bridge. You know, well, came up this way, turned around. And as we're coming back, there's tall apartments on the left. I mean, like sniper paradise kind of shit. And there's an Iraqi checkpoint right there. Like, you know, shit across the road. They clear every car that goes through. They're lazy, but they had it set up. Now off to the right, they're doing a lot of construction on like I want to say it's like a university of some kind. But all around it, dude, there's just foxholes and crazy shit. So over here, it's just crazy foxholes, and then this like crazy tech university, or maybe it's like a government place or something. I just know behind that for sure is where like the governor of Iraq was always hanging out.
This is all still well within the city, and there's foxholes and shit.
Oh yeah, well
That's
it's not just foxholes, dude. It's where they start construction and leave it. There's just holes everywhere, dude. It's just crazy.
Okay.
Like I said, I can pull up a Google Earth image of it and show you, but it was like I said, we'd only been there a couple weeks. Where we had been at prior to this, like we're stopped right here at this checkpoint. We just came off a bridge, so you have no egress that way. Like you can't escape. I can't turn right because it's all holes. To the left is like there could be snipers, and there's like a huge concrete wall, so we can't turn there. Basically, the only thing you can do is go forward. Well, this lady gets out in front of us, all black, and just starts screaming, won't let our convoy go. We're like, what the fuck? And then she gets down on her knees and starts doing this shit, like, and like yelling all this shit in Arabic. Well, by this time we actually have a bullhorn on the truck. So the interpreter gets on there and he's like, "Ma'am, please get out of the road," blah blah blah, like whatever he says to her. For like probably 20 minutes we're trying to get this lady out of the road, and she's pointing at her forehead and like screaming, like ripping at her clothes and pointing and cursing at us. So we call the Iraqi guys that are right there. We're like, "You need to get this woman out of the road."
Right.
And they walk over. She like reaches under her shit, and they all freak out thinking she's got a suicide vest. And they just back off. We're like, "Dude, do your fucking job. Go over there and remove that woman." They won't do it. They just kind of stand there and watch, see what we do. So my platoon leader at the time, he's like, and I'm calling him up. I'm in the rear because, like I said, they wanted me to gun. I was the one guy with a lot of experience. I'm gunning for my platoon sergeant then. Because this was before I started doing a lot of foot patrols and everything. And I'm trying to turn around, you know, to see what the hell's happening. You know, I got the bridge. I've already got everybody backed up. There's nobody going to come at us from the bridge. And I'm turning around seeing it. And we have headsets at the time. And I'm telling the platoon leader, I'm like, I don't like this at all. Like, this is like prime attack. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, is she holding us here for something? Like, what the hell? I mean, we've been here too long as it is. We're sitting in one place out in the open way too long. So he comes up. He's just like, all right. He's like, Pete, you know, Peterson. He's like, shoot her. You know, what are we going to do? He's like, shoot her. So Peterson fires 2 shots. One went through, I think, her stomach and the like through one of her kidneys, or like grazed a kidney. The other one went through somewhere in her chest. And I was actually watching with binoculars. I watched one of the bullets actually spark behind her.
Wow.
She fell out, and they were able to go grab her. And then the Iraqis are all cussing at us. The Iraqi police like,
Well,
and
you were told to remove her.
Yep. We hustle back, and by the time we get back, a colonel, I think it was a colonel, had already flown in by helicopter and was ready to question all of us.
Right.
It's a -6 investigation, -8, whatever it is. You know, international incident kind of thing. It's already making the news.
So she
what
wasn't
happened?
Vested up or nothing.
No. I'll get to that.
Yeah.
So it takes him about 15 minutes to clear all of us, because we tell him exactly what I just told you. Like, this looked like a setup. This lady would not move. Iraqis would not help. She keeps reaching under. She's wearing the big black shit. She keeps reaching under there. She's pointing at her forehead. She's screaming at us. Like, for all we know, that's a man. First of all, we can't tell if it's a woman. She's too far away. You know, it could be a man with a suicide vest. It could be a woman with a suicide vest. She could be just trying to hold us there for an attack. We don't know. We tried every recourse possible without getting out of the vehicle and leaving the safety of the vehicle. We tried to get the Iraqis to help. We got on we did everything we could. So we took the final action. That's all we could do.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out, CNN and all them, I know Al Jazeera, CNN, BBC, Fox News, like everybody had something different to say. She was a mentally unstable woman. One of them was she was a retarded woman. One of them was she was a journalist and she was trying to interview us and we just shot her.
Right.
One of them, she was pregnant on vacation with her family. It's just all kinds of different stories.
Yeah.
What it actually happened, this is the real story. She lived, by the way. The Iraqi sergeant major and our sergeant major went up there to interview her when she, got all fixed up. She tells them flat out what happened was her husband, she just recently gotten married. Her husband was cheating with another family or like another woman. Maybe he had another family and it disgraced her. So she actually had walked to the bridge and was going to commit suicide.
Okay.
Like a honor killing kind of thing.
Yeah.
And chickened out, but she saw the Americans and decided to have suicide by soldier.
Yeah.
That's the real story. Now, she did work for a local TV station. You know what I mean? So that's where they were getting the journalist thing.
Yeah.
But she never tried to ask us any questions. She literally, and I'm sure we had a video of it too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure my
platoon
platoon leader filmed it in case, this is what was going to end up happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there was video and everything of it. I mean, I don't think that was released to the public, but we were cleared within like 10 or 15 minutes. It's cut and dried, but that was an international incident that made us look bad.
Yeah, well, especially when everybody spins it to make ratings, Yeah, that's
yeah. Like, she was mentally retarded.
She's retarded, and
she's
now
pregnant. She's a reporter.
Pregnant on vacation. Come on now. That's just
First of all, there was no man. There was no children with her.
And regardless, you're going to go stop a convoy of American soldiers? Really? Sounds like a good thing to do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's how we shattered the SOFA agreement, apparently, in 12 hours.
Nice.
So, but, yeah, that was big news. Like, you can, to this day, still look that up.
Yeah.
And I could still see propaganda videos saying the complete opposite.
Yeah, more
it's
big bullshit news is what it is, because they were told to do their job.
Yeah, she's alive, so.
Yeah, that too.
You know.
Well, and the whole SOFA thing, they had their chance.
Yeah.
They were told to do their shit.
Let's see. It's so we had to work with the Iraqi National Police a lot, and what we do is we go meet up with them at their police station.
Okay.
Their buildings are painted blue and everything. So
in your district?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So one time with them, we went and raided a whorehouse around the corner. That was when I told you, my platoon leader, if he ever found out there was a guy from Diyala province, we're balling him up. Well, they had intel there's a guy from Diyala province visiting this whorehouse. So we go in. It's like 3 floors, like an apartment building, and just we're busting the doors down and shit. Now, mind you, we ended up giving the women back money to replace the doors we shattered. We just wanted that guy. That guy was actually in there with 2 women, too, and it smelled like straight sex in there. Guy had a pistol on him and everything. He didn't draw on us. I don't know what act he was engaged in, but he was not fully clothed. Get the guy's pants back on, drag him outside. Got some really good intel off that guy. And nobody ever wanted to go back to the whorehouse again. What? I always just wanted to walk by it because they'd hang their titties out the window and stuff. It was cool. And I know like certain Iraqis will kill women for that shit. But that just goes to show you, like, our police were even cool with it. And a lot of those dudes were like serious Muslim.
Yeah.
But that being said, so we'd link up with them to do like the raid where I shit my pants, for instance. Every time we'd go to do something, we'd link up with these dudes.
Yep.
We get there one day, and the commander is like got his feet up on the desk. Like when you walk in, it's like an office looking area. He's got his feet up on the desk. He's sleeping. Like, Wiseman, what the fuck? Get this guy. What's he doing? And we'd always fuck with the Iraqis, like wrestle with them and shit. Like, kind of roughhouse with them because they always act all tough and everything like little kids. It's hilarious. Well, all the rest of them, like, nobody's standing there waiting. And I want to say we were probably like 5 minutes late. This commander's sleeping. And he tells Wiseman they're in the like barracks room, like with the bunk beds and shit. So Wiseman's like, yeah, they're in the bunk room or whatever. So me, Watson, platoon sergeant, platoon leader, and everybody, we go open the door, and I kid you not, dude, there's 2 dudes railing each other out on one of the beds. Just drilling each other, dude. They see us, and they're all smiling, pulling their pants up and shit. And there's dudes just sitting in there watching them, like just chilling. And half of them are either sleeping or
Business
watching.
as usual,
They're just pounding each other out, dude, like
Nice.
it's nothing. And I said, Wiseman, what the fuck are these guys
No
doing?
kidding.
He's like, they say that boys and men are for fun. Women are for make babies. I'm like, that's fucking gross, dude.
That is fucked up.
I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, tell these guys to quit playing grab ass. Like, we got a mission, you know?
Oh,
It was just wild.
Someone teach this culture to pull out.
Right.
Fuck's sake.
I don't mind, you know. I have no problem with gays or bisexuals or anything, but like we're there
No,
to.
when that's the reasoning.
We're supposed to be ready. Like we're about to do a mission, dude. That's like the dude Huff and Duster. Like
Right.
you're about to leave for a mission. Like square yourself away,
Yeah.
man. These guys were not squared away at all. They were literally
Obviously.
playing grab ass.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh,
I just got a
jeez.
couple more quick things. I'll end it with the platoon. Well, actually, I'll tell you about my platoon sergeant now. So, we were on a patrol. I sent you the wiki leak for it. It was an IED detonation. So they want us to check out this IED, and we get there, and it's a giant diesel tank, like just in a neighborhood, huge diesel tank. You know, it's one of those roads that it has a divider in the middle with the palm trees, and we're like kind of asking the people around. Now there's an Iraqi checkpoint right there within a block, like they can see it. This diesel tank didn't explode. Like that's not how diesel works.
Right.
So what they did, and I that was the time I told you about before when I was touching the IED components, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't have gloves on.
Yeah.
What they did was they made like a homemade bomb. It was duct taped, and they had duct taped pieces of like cast iron, like shrapnel, like a busted iron pipe to the top, set it under the tank, and detonated it. So all it ended up doing was that shrapnel hit the tank and punched a hole in it. So there's just like diesel leaking all down the street, but it never ignited.
Yeah.
So we kind of circle around a little bit. We're asking some questions. There's like an apartment right here. Here's the tank. Well, behind that, at the end of the road, there's a traffic circle.
Okay.
You know, a traffic circle.
Yeah.
And there's like a big hotel. There's a half-built. There's lots of buildings that are like not finished in Iraq. Like you can see into them. It's just like the frame or whatever. And in that traffic circle, there's like a fountain and a ton of palm trees and shit. And most of the guys in my platoon were tired of doing this dumb shit. They're like, these fucking idiots aren't going to tell us anything. A lot of them went back to the trucks and were just the trucks that were shadowing us. So on the ground, it was me, my brand new FO. He'd only been with us for like, I don't know, a couple of weeks.
FO.
Forward observer,
Okay.
call for fire guy.
Yep. Gotcha.
He only had been with us a few weeks. So I'm kind of mentoring him too. And we just got a brand new lieutenant. Okay. He was a good dude, but he was a staff officer before this. He had no experience. So he'd only been there a couple of weeks. So the only 2 guys on the ground that really had experience is me and my platoon sergeant, my smoke. And I'm like, we're walking and shit. There's just the 4 of us being shadowed by 4 trucks. I'm like, smoke. I'm like, if you look at this, I'm like, it looked like they tried to blow this tank up. Didn't work. Why are they trying to blow this tank up? They're trying to bring people out here. I'm like, I don't like it. I seriously, I'm like, something ain't right. Now, normally, he always would listen to us. That dude was he cared about us. And if we had like a hinky feeling about something, he's on it. Well, this particular time, he's like, ain't nothing bad gonna happen. These motherfuckers ain't gonna do shit to me. Blah, blah. He had like his hands like this with the weapon slung. And I'm like, smoke, seriously, man. Like, I don't like it, dude. We need to get out of here. He's like, well, I'm gonna question these IPs. We gonna find out what the fuck happened. Like normally he doesn't cuss very much. Like he's a very good dude, but he was like all fired up for some reason, like
Real
wanting to
cocky
know.
that day.
And see, the guy, he speaks Arabic, but he doesn't tell any of the Iraqis he speaks Arabic. Wiseman or whoever the interpreter we have for that day asked this guy this question. Now he speaks the Egyptian form, so it's a little different, but he can understand. Let's say like 90% of what they're saying. So they're over there questioning these guys. All it is here's the diesel tank, traffic circle back here, trucks right here shadowing us. We're heading towards the diesel tank with the traffic circle behind us.
Okay.
And parked across the road is an Iraqi police, it's like a pickup truck. You know what I mean? Like I told you, they would ride the last deployment.
Yep.
And there's a guy chilling in the back, a couple guys here, and then there's just roads that offshoot down into the neighborhood. kind of like a spine shape.
Yeah.
And he's standing on this side of the truck next to my platoon leader because, like I said, I was riding with the platoon leader at the time because he was new. Kind of like my section chief was out on leave, so I was the squad leader for this, and I'm also mentoring this new lieutenant on what we do and everything. And I'm also showing the FO who was riding in the truck, and he's a friend of mine anyway. I knew him before the deployment.
Nice.
He just hadn't been with us that long. He was somewhere else. They brought him over, whatever. And Lieutenant standing with smoke. I'm standing like over on the other side by the front of the truck talking to my buddy Dunk, and I'm like, if this is a setup, where would you be if you were hiding?
Right.
And we're like pointing at all these roofs and shit. I'm like, I don't think it would be there because that's like too exposed. I don't think it'd be there. And I'm just kind of questioning him.
Yeah.
And I go to turn around, see what's going on over here, and I see smoke go to turn around towards the traffic circle. And as he turns his head, I hear like a smack sound. And I see all this blood spray out, and he just drops. And the lieutenant fucking drops too, because I heard another almost like a snapping sound or something. Turns out that was the second bullet. I don't know if it was meant for me, for him. The LT was just like right over here. It could have been meant for any of the three of us.
Yeah.
But the sound I heard was that it was so close.
Yeah, you could hear it.
But the sound I heard first was the sound of the bullet impacting his face. And like I immediately go to jump behind the truck and I grab Dunk, but he didn't even notice what happened. I grab him by the back of his kit and throw him on the ground behind the truck. And at the time I don't have a headset on, so I'm yelling for the gunners up there. I'm like, sniper, sniper. Yeah. My guys are squared away, dude. They're already scanning and shit. And I go to peek over the truck and I see the Iraqi dude laying in the back of the truck. He had because they never wear their body armor. He had covered himself up with body armor and was looking at me like a scared kid shaking. I'm like, he don't even have a weapon. Like, I don't even know where his AK's at. The other guys had scattered around the corner. So it's just me, Dunk, our trucks, platoon sergeant bleeding from the face over here, and the LT who is scared to fucking death.
Right.
So I start yelling. We have a TTP where if anybody's wounded, Smoke's truck had the medic too. The medic was inside. The medic has to pull up to wherever the wounded guy is, because that's armored support. Like, so we take small arms fire if somebody's wounded. The truck will pull up and block whatever direction that we think the bullet came from, so that we can get them in. And
what was a TTP? Like a standard protocol type
like
thing,
like an SRP or SOP, like a standard operating procedure.
I got you. Okay, I just wanted to
I
make
can't
sure
remember what TTP stands for. Tactical procedure, something, I don't know.
Cool.
But I just use the word all the time, and I forgot so fucking much. But truck pulls up like this, to block him on that side. Yeah. And I go to get up to go grab him, and I, to this day, still regret that I didn't immediately go get him, like right then. Yeah. But it happened so quick. Like, he actually stands up. There's blood coming all out of his face, and he just yells, "Truck!" and fucking hauls ass to this truck next to him and just jumps in. Truck backs up. I run. I'm like, Dunk, on count of three. I'm like, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Why is that lighting up?
I don't know. I wouldn't worry about it. Fuck that camera.
Sorry. I'm like, Dunk. I'm like, go. Because we're in the same vehicle. We run to our truck. And like I said, it was the LT's truck. And I'm like yelling up to Watson, who's the lead truck. He's got to lead the convoy. He's the one that's in charge of the radio and shit right now. Usually it's supposed to be the LT.
Is that irritating you? So like,
no, it's fine.
Sorry. Okay.
But Watson is also training to be a squad leader too. So they're letting him control the convoy. Lieutenant is training everything, so he calls everything up and everything. Okay. We get in, and I'm like, where's the LT? And I hear like a I'm like, what the fuck? It's the sound of his hand hitting the latch on the Humvee. He low crawled over to the Humvee and was on the ground trying to open the door. I end up busting the door open, and I'm like, LT, I'm not going to say his name. I'm like, get the fuck in the truck, dude. What are you doing? And he gets in. Finally, he's all shaking. Like, that dude's he's in shock. No clue what's going on. And I'm like, LT, they're calling for you. LT, they're on the radio. And he puts his headset on, his Vic. I'm like, LT, they're calling. I'm like, I got one on too. I'm like, they're calling, but I can't call out. I'm like, God damn it. I swear to God. I smacked that dude in the back of the helmet. I'm like, give me the fucking mic. And I call it up to the battalion.
Mm-hmm.
This is what happened. This is what happened. This is what happened. Blah, blah, blah. Watson's in charge. We're heading to the cache. Watson, on the other hand, he had already started calling the cache, which is the hospital in the green zone.
Okay. Yeah.
Told him the route. Like, that dude Watson was squared the fuck away, dude. He did exactly what he needed to do. That dude ended up getting awarded for it.
Nice.
God bless him. He did a fucking fantastic job. LT straight up froze. I totally slapped my lieutenant. But I don't expect much because, like I said, the dude had not been there that long. It's the first time he ever saw anything like that.
Young guy.
Now, I hadn't seen anything like that happen that close to anybody. Like, yeah, I had buddies and shit shot over there. But they're never standing, like, within a 5-foot distance of me.
Right.
And it certainly wasn't in the face. So we get to the hospital. His fucking head, like the whole side of his face, is swole up purple. He's, like, slurring his words, but he's awake. You know? And we get to the cache. And everybody's just kind of meandering around in there. There's like a reception desk chick. And these are all Army people, you know. And I come walking. I got blood on me and shit. All the guys with me. A couple of my buddies are like holding him up, like going in.
Yeah.
I'm leading the charge, helmet in my hand. I'm like, somebody fucking help us. Like, I'm pissed, dude. I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. Because they're all just stopping. They're like, they're just staring.
Yeah, come on now.
And I'm like,
don't freeze up.
I'm like, get the fuck over here and help this man. Like, I throw my fucking helmet. That's how I got this scar across my hand, because I walked up and I punched a hole in the fucking wall. I'm like flipping out. I'm like, somebody fucking do something. He's shot in the face. And yeah, so what ended up happening with that, my sergeant major and my lieutenant colonel, they come down to the hospital and they're like, you know, what'll happen? How's Yak? You know, how's he doing? I'm like, we don't know. They said he was stable but critical. They're taking him in for surgery. Like, it looked like it hit him in, like, his face was real swole. Yeah. But I don't know what kind of damage. I know it didn't hit him in the eye, and it didn't get his teeth or anything like that. I'm like, he's in surgery, and they're like, okay. They're like, Ames? And I'm like, yeah. Yes, Sergeant Major. You know, yes, sir. They're like, take us back to the spot. We know where it is. They're like, we want you to come with us. You tell us where you think it came from. So, 1st Platoon heads down there, too. Okay? And I'm there with my Sergeant Major and my Lieutenant Colonel. And I'm like, I am positive that it came, because of the way he turned his head, it came from the direction of the traffic circle. Mm-hmm. Now, if you look at the WikiLeaks, they initially go with my assessment. But then the next one, they go with 1st Platoon's assessment that it came out of a vehicle, and it was probably a .22 silenced pistol, and that the Iraqi police facilitated their escape and all this shit. No, dude. It came from the roof of the hotel, first of all. The guy used a rifle. We went to the roof of the hotel. We found the bipod marks. Mm-hmm. Found them. You could see where the guy had set his rifle. All the dirt and everything up there was freshly kicked out, like moved, like somebody had been crouching there and fucking around. There was like a little shack, like a storage shack on the roof. The guy had whatever clothes he had on, like he had like bum-ass clothes on. He had freshly taken them off, thrown them down, and a guy was seen even coming down from up there carrying a canvas bag from the roof. Yeah. Okay, right after this, wearing nice clothes, like a suit or something. The guy changed out of his shit clothes, put the clothes on, folded his rifle up, put it in the bag. I'm telling you, I know it because we found the dude's ditch clothes and bipod marks.
Get rid of the gunpowder on it or something? Is that what that's about?
No, I think it's just so people don't see a crazy-looking guy carrying a rifle. They see a businessman in a hotel carrying luggage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you read the report. This guy's a badass. They said he was AQIZ, fucking trained in Iran, all that shit, the whole nine. Now, 1st Platoon did find a shell casing down in the bushes. Well, they said it came from the traffic circle, which was probably about 30 feet away. But those bushes were directly under the edge where the bipod marks were.
Yeah.
Now, this 1st Platoon, the leader of that, was the guy that I got in shit with right before I got out. You know, and he Article 15 me and shit, and I just blew up on him. And we never got along. This guy so wanted to have the glory and think that he's Billy Badass and knows what's going on. You weren't there. I was there. Yeah. I was one of 4 people on the ground. I'm telling you right now, that's where the shot came from. It's right when the wind died. Medevac status was red. This dude waited until the perfect time, was trained in on the face. The wind died down. He saw an opening. and my platoon sergeant didn't turn all the way around yet. It hit him right in the cheek, grazed all the way through his cheek, and actually lodged in the back of his neck.
Whoa.
And they were able to get, I think they got all the bullet too. And right now, he's a sergeant major right now. He's one of the greatest platoon sergeants I ever had. I'm sorry if he hears this and the portrayal of me saying these motherfuckers ain't going to do shit. He never acted like that, though. You know what I mean? He said that. I'm telling you right now, that's what was said.
Yeah.
You know? But I love that guy. And I still, to this day, I feel terrible. I should have went and grabbed him. But what I kept thinking was that a second shot? Like, I'm not even sure exactly where this guy is. I got cover right now. I need to ensure that we're okay, you know, before I go get him. I need to at least identify where it came from.
Yeah, yeah.
And then right as I'm thinking that, my truck already, you know, his truck already pulled up, and he's up, you know. It was just crazy, dude.
Like you said, 1 in a million shot, and 1 in a million, you know, surviving it too.
Dude, it says that shit in the WikiLeaks that it was their assessment that it would have been what was claimed was a 1 in a million shot, but first platoon, red platoon, thinks that it was fired from the traffic circle from a silenced pistol.
Come on now.
And
with everybody all out there and everything.
That could happen. You had the Beltway sniper guy, the DC sniper. That dude was shooting out of a trunk with they took the taillight out.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's plausible. But the fact that we found the shell casing, the bipod marks, the ditched clothes, and a guy just came from up there. I mean, we tactically questioned the entire kitchen staff up there because they saw the guy come down from the roof wearing different clothes, carrying a bag. The bag was his fucking rifle. He didn't leave the rifle.
Sounds pretty cut and dry.
I'm telling you, dude. There's no amount of anybody going to change my mind on that.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, like, motherfuckers, you weren't there. I was there. I'm telling you. That's what happened.
Yeah. Crazy.
So.
Oh, yeah.
And, the last two things I just wanted to touch on, which I thought these were kind of cool. So, we had this dish at JSS Zafrania, like by the gate. It looked like a
satellite dish.
Yeah, it looked like a crazy, weird-shaped brown satellite dish, like a big generator portion on it, and it was hooked up to the LMTV, like with a big cord.
LMTV?
And we like a big 5-ton, 2.5 5-ton trucks, FMTVs, LMTVs, a troop carrier truck.
Uh-huh.
And we would use that for keep the radio on, obviously, and it could hold a lot of gas. It had more batteries, so that's why it was hooked to that anyway, instead of a Humvee. Plus, if anything happened, you could turn that big vehicle and block the gate, right?
Cool. Yeah.
So we would ask questions like, what the fuck is this thing? They're like, that's the LRAD. Now, I did research later, like just Googling, because I couldn't remember what the hell it was called. I'm like, what was that big dish weapon thing?
Yeah.
Apparently, from what I read, the LRAD was supposed to be fielded in Iraq in like 2003, 2004-ish, maybe 2005. It was determined, if I remember correctly, to be like kind of like against Geneva Convention to use it, because this particular one can make you feel like you're burning and all that. And they were supposed to be removed from country. Well, this is 2008, 2009. We definitely had one, and I know I got pictures of us chilling at that gate with it. I know for a fact. We never used it.
Yeah.
I always used to joke with my buddies. I'm like, just go out there. Let me turn it on the lowest setting. Let's see what happens. But it was pointed at the gate, and like I said, we're in the middle of this town. It's just my battalion right there. There's the one way in, but if they come and mob up, you have to have something like that. You know? A crowd deterrent. Well, they're using LRAD systems all over the United States now. Yeah, like riot control and all that shit. It's also sometimes they call it like the voice of God, because they can beam out words and shit like that. We never fucked with it, but it was there. I thought that was kind of cool.
Manipulation.
Yeah. So
that's pretty neat. That is cool stuff. I really like hearing about that, and it's I guess the shine of it's wearing off a little bit, because as time goes on, you see more and more of that shit in use in the States, for riot control and shit like that. But
exactly,
yeah, it's pretty neat.
Well, like New York is using backscatter vans now.
Yeah, right.
You know, I want to say it's like St. Louis police and New York police and all of them. They have fucking LRAD systems now, and it's it's just crazy. But I guess those are the ones it emits a high-pitched noise or whatever, or can make people nauseous, or a lot of times they're using it to disperse crowds by sending out a message really loud.
Yeah.
Yep. But still, it's just wild that I saw that stuff over there.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's neat.
But yeah, that's about all the notes I came up with.
Yeah.
Like I said, second deployment was long. It was 13 months, but not a whole lot of super exciting shit happened.
And the whole time was just in Baghdad there, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. It sounds like a whole different beast. I mean,
we started our deployment at JSS Rustamaya, which was outside of Baghdad.
Okay.
Then that got turned over to the Iraqis while we were there. It was no longer American. And we did some howitzer training and shit at Fob Hammer.
Okay.
I'm not real sure where Hammer was, but it was fairly far away. Like, we had to drive to get there.
What even for? Were there even howitzers at all?
Well, yeah, we had howitzers with us.
In the city and everything?
Oh, yeah. We kept them in our base. We just never got to use them.
Yeah.
Now, we did have 11 Charlie Mortarmen at JSS Zafrania that would do missions for us, but it was mostly loom rounds to light up the sky. Like when we'd be doing shit. I don't know if they ever fired any HE, like explosive rounds.
Yeah.
But they were definitely firing them off. And if for nothing else, they were letting them pop a loom for training, too. So
right on.
It was cool.
Cool. Well, maybe let's wrap it up for today. I'd
fine.
Still like to talk more about it, just to kind of, talk about, I don't know, what it was like, just everyday life type shit, I mean, it's you were in a city the whole time there, and like, these stories are great, but like, what else did you do, like, just on a day-to-day basis? Maybe go over like pictures and shit that you got, and
absolutely.
stuff like that, and yeah, it'll be fucking awesome though. But
yeah, I'm down.
Oh yeah.
This is very boring.
What's that?
I said it was very boring for the most part. And one thing that we used to say a lot is boring is good. Like when you get new soldiers come in or whatever, because you'd get replacement dudes or new guys that just got out of basic, and we'd been there 4 months, 5 months, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of my good buddies got there late on whichever deployment, and they'd be like, "Man, I want to get some action." It's like, no, dude, trust me.
Yeah.
Boring is good. Because even if nobody gets hurt when there's some action or something, that's a lot more work. That's more time you're going to have to sit out there. The attack's over, dude. The guys are gone. Now we're going to have to go through this building. We're going to have to tactically question everybody. We're probably not going to catch anyone. We're not going to find anything of worth, but it's going to take another, 12 to 24 hours of us sitting out there. And every time you sit out there for long periods, you're a target.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah.
So... Yes, sir.
Awesome, man. All right, cool. Well, thank you.
No problem, man.
All right, cool.
Anytime.
What the hell, that camera?
Making me look pretty.
I wanna say